Welcome to the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. I am your boy, Black Mamba, taking over this morning. Dylan is out there at the beach somewhere. I got Cody Geyer sitting next to me. Oh, Mark Keeler's in the house.
What up?
And where's Thomas? Thomas Ryan, are you here?
Here.
There he is. Bang. Well, guys, how's your weekend?
Who are you asking? Me or
Anybody.
Cody?
Anybody.
Let Cody speak. He
All
hasn't
right, Cody.
spoken yet.
Cody, welcome. How was your weekend, my friend?
Good. I was on customer care for the 2 live streams we had this weekend. The Wheelman Sportsman Series at 417 Southern Speedway in Florida, and the Valenti Modified Racing Series at Monadnock.
Man, how are those races?
2 really good races. I mean, the Wheelman Sportsman went 50 laps, green to checkered, and we had multiple lead changes in the Valenti Modified race, and it was an exciting show.
Yes, Mark.
No, I'm good. I'm just watching y'all.
You look like you had something to say.
No, I missed both of the live streams this weekend. I didn't watch either one of them, so I'm kind of ashamed because I didn't watch either one, and I really wanted to see the modifieds from Monadnock. I haven't been to that track in probably well over 20 years, so I was actually kind of looking forward to that, but I ended up missing them, so I had to sleep.
Yeah, that's kind of like your baby. I'm kind of surprised you missed the live streams.
Yeah, I missed. I kept track with customer care with Cody and Zach, and kind of made sure everything was going good. But and from the looks of it, they all went pretty good. So another good weekend of live racing on the Speed 51 network.
Good job, guys, all around. Good job.
Where were you this weekend?
I went back to the great New England, and I had a bachelor party, so at Cape Cod, and then my birthday was yesterday. So.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Brought some cookie cake back there for, it looks like only 4 of us.
You brought your own birthday cake.
Yeah, well, so I landed, and then some friends picked me up. And I'm like, all right, thanks for the ride home. Nah, they skirted over to Saeed's without me knowing. And we were supposed to have, apparently there was supposed to be like 30, 40 people. Well, the race got rained out last night at Michigan, so nobody made it back because they're racing tonight at Michigan. So it was like 5 of us.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Try again.
Try again next year. Yeah. Funny thing about Monadnock, though, I destroyed my first race car there. 2 laps into practice.
I think your dad actually chimed in on one of our Facebooks about Monadnock a few weeks back when we were talking about it. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was rough. Almost broke my foot, but you know.
Almost doesn't count.
Almost does not count. It was just swollen.
So other than our races, big weekend in short track racing.
Yeah, big weekend in short track.
Or big week, starting with Indiana Midget Week. So it was actually all week and then the weekend. So
Yeah, some great racing going on in my home state of Indiana. You had Kyle Larson come for a couple nights at Gas City and Putnamville and put on a good show.
Did Larson get a W this weekend?
He did not.
He did not. That's unusual.
At this point, I mean, every time he gets in the dirt car, he's putting in victory lane.
Yeah, he finished 3rd the first night at Gas City, and then on the second night, he was battling for the lead on the last lap and hit the curb and went for a flip.
Now, I know you guys saw what happened this weekend in the K&N race.
K&N West, you mean?
K&N West race.
Oh, yeah. Who didn't see it? But the question is, what did you see? Because there's 2 different videos going out online. There's one that just shows like the very last lap with Derek Kraus in the lead, Haley Deegan behind him, and then there's a full video that goes back to the restart and shows the entire ending of that race. So I think that's the important one for people to see. So,
Cody,
yeah.
you're kind of more of a dirt guy, right? Than asphalt. Where do you stand on the whole dirt and asphalt thing?
Yeah, depends on what's racing.
Well, what do you think with the move?
I thought it was just hard racing for the win. I mean, you're at a 3rd mile track, and then you got 2 young drivers who are teammates fighting for the win in a tight points battle. Something had to give. So
here's my thing about like teammates at that level, like because being at MDM we had a lot of teammates. So, but the teammates are really the crews more than the drivers. Like every driver is kind of racing for their own ground and trying to make their own name. So I can't really. If you're my teammate, I expect like during the race we give each other a little bit more love and a little bit more room, but at the end, like you're kind of all the same and just everybody's.
Well, and even when you get up to the big 3, and even those owners will tell you, their teammates, they're expected to race hard. They don't want them to wreck. They don't want to be repairing cars because that costs money. But I mean, it's kind of no holds barred at that point. It's the teammates out the door because you're the driver. You're trying to win for yourself and for your guys or girls that put that car together and jump over the wall and help you. Yeah, it's all part of the same big scope, with Bill McAnally Racing. But I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, you're racing for yourself. So,
and Bill and them guys, Bill and Kevin Bellancourt, who's kind of the GM there, they do a great job like keeping a team camaraderie over there at that place, and they've been around for a long time. So I'm sure that the Monday morning meeting here in a couple hours, because they're on the West Coast, will be pretty interesting.
well, yeah, but I mean, and what do you do at the end of the day? I mean, one of your drivers won the race, so and that's a good thing. And yeah, you would like to have seen them both, maybe finish 1-2 and not have that happen. But at the same time, if I'm an owner, I want to put somebody in my car that's going to go for it. And that's what she did. She went for it. And I'd rather see that and have the outcome that played out yesterday than to see somebody lay back and not go for it. Because at the end of the day, if you're racing in K&N, you're trying to get up to the big three. And the only way you're going to get there is by being aggressive at the right times. And when's a better time than coming to the checkered flag?
So that's twice now, Cody. Are you? She's won basically doing the same move. This one maybe didn't work out as great as the last one, but are you sold on Haley Deegan?
I mean, at this point, I am. I mean, when it comes down to the end of the race, you got to do what you got to do to win. I mean, she didn't purposely wreck anybody, any of her 3 wins, but she just went in there, went in hard, got by the driver that was leading, and she took the win.
It's pretty impressive. Like everyone, it's kind of hypocritical for people to be on social media and be like, "Oh, that was such a dirty move." When we're like, "I wish it was back in the '80s and '90s." Well, the '80s and '90s, you did that, and you just came out of the car ready to brawl.
Remember well, I say the pass in the grass. It wasn't even a pass. There was no pass actually there at all. But
right. He just kinda
everybody
blocked it.
talks about how great that was, or even like right down the road here at Charlotte, it was like late '80s when Rusty Wallace took out Darrell Waltrip in what was then the Winston. That was racing. It was hard racing, and you settle it after the fact. Now, there's some people saying that because she's not a guy, so, okay, nobody's going to get out and throw punches at her, which I agree with. I mean,
100%.
but because I don't know that punches necessarily need to be thrown in every situation, number one. But if you look at it, what I saw, and this is just my personal opinion, he crowded her down. I mean, she wasn't all the way to his door, but she did have a run. So he's trying to protect his territory, and her biggest, I mean, whatever you want to call it, all she did was not lift. When he was there, she didn't lift. She didn't come up the track. She held it down to the bottom. She didn't go 3 lanes up. She made the corner. All she did was didn't lift. So, I mean, are you going to go after somebody just because they didn't lift? I mean, I can see if somebody goes in there and just runs you over and dumps you and puts you in a wall, that's a different story. But, social media, got to love it.
Oh, you know how much I love it. I love social media.
I think the biggest thing people forget is not all, I don't know. It's going to be hypocritical for me to say this because here we are on social media this morning, but not all opinions need to be shared. And that's just, I mean, seriously, it's like, I mean, we come on here to share opinions, yeah, but some of the ones that I saw on social media, you can tell are from people that either they've tuned into racing because they're Cup fans,
Right.
And I've always said there's Cup fans and then there's race fans, and some race fans are Cup fans, but there's some Cup fans that aren't race fans that have never been to a short track. They've never, right. So, and to see some of those people come on, and some of the opinions that come out are actually pretty hilarious. And then and I didn't see what happened, but apparently there was something that happened at the end of the Formula One race yesterday where, I mean, I guess I honestly don't know, but all I kept hearing people say was, what was this guy supposed to do? So it's like, and when you get fans like that to come down to a short track level, where rubbing is racing, period. I mean, you're from New England, Dylan. Up there, 8 wheels turn better than 4, more often than not. So,
Cody, where I'm from, we race each other really hard, and that's how I grew up racing, which is, I think, the best thing for me. But at the same time, and you get upset with people, but you just kind of gave it back to them. So I think it was great entertainment, and at the end of the day, that's what we need. We just need entertainment. So it was a great race, and she's gonna have to be ready because it's gonna undoubtedly come back around.
Yeah, but my favorite part was after that race when the crowd of fans hung around Haley Deegan's hauler and she came out, signed autographs, took pictures with everybody. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think Noah Gregson made a tweet this weekend about walking into the racetrack and seeing a fan with his shirt and just, stopping and talking to the people and signing autographs. And I think the more of these young people that embrace that and understand how fortunate they are and blessed they are to be where they're at and embrace the fans and just be a part of that. Now, my question is, and, Kyle Busch gets this knock a lot, and there's quite a few, had the race turned out differently, would she have been the same way with the fans? And I like to think she would because she seems very outgoing at the track. And not every race ends the way she wants it to. But I think that's going to be the true test, two things, like you said, Mama. What's going to happen when it comes back around?
Right.
Because if you're going to put yourself in those positions to get those wins, you're also going to be in those positions to lose those races.
Exactly.
And somebody said the other day on one of the broadcasts, you're going to lose way more races than you're ever going to win. And so I think that's going to be a key point moving forward. And then to see how she embraces the fans when, it doesn't go her way. And I'm not saying that she won't. We don't know. I mean, we haven't really had the camera in that position, when she's coming out of the hauler, after a tough loss and the fans are standing there. So it's great. I mean, it's exactly what I think the K&N series needs right now, especially out west, because for quite a few years you didn't hear anything coming out of the West. So I think it's great for racing. And they were talking about it yesterday on the Cup broadcast. The DW was chiming in and Kevin Harvick was chiming in. And so anytime you can get that kind of national attention for a short track event, I don't see anything wrong with it.
So moving on, we've talked about that race quite a bit. That was a good little segment. Good start to the morning. BD would be proud of us, I feel like. That's his number one driver, I think, almost every year in the draft.
You're going to tell us about your yellow headphones?
Well, yeah, the Bruins. So the Bruins won. So we're going to Game 7. And Zach Evans, at least if the Bruins win, his team lost to the champ. So that's not a bad deal for him.
No, not at all. And then plus me as a Detroit Red Wings fan, which I get a lot of smack from Bob for that. They used to be division rivals with the St. Louis Blues, so it's fun to see Boston take it to Game 7 and have a good series.
We've almost been 6 months, I feel like, without a parade, so Boston needs another one.
Seriously?
What?
They need a parade,
what?
That's why.
They need a parade. Yeah, we need another parade.
Oh, you people kill me.
What do you mean, you people?
You younger Boston fans who have no clue what it's like to live through the curse of the Bambino and the 0-13 New England Patriots. And back when all they had was the Celtics, and that was even done after the late 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, people can get mad at Boston fans and Red Sox fans and Patriots fans all they want. I grew up there. I spent 18 years of my life there. We lived through some pretty crappy times for professional sports teams. I was telling somebody a couple weeks ago, before the Browns of today were the Patriots of the late 80s, early 90s. So it'll come around. It ain't going to last forever.
No, it ain't going to last forever. But while it's here, I'm going to enjoy every minute
Absolutely.
of it. So who... Cody, we got some people coming up, don't we? Who we got coming up?
You got Richard chiming in on the Haley Deegan, Derek Krause situation. He said that she did what she had to do, and she owes it to her crew to go for the win.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what everyone, I feel like, at the end of the day, everyone feels like is a raw deal for Derek, but it's racing. So.
I mean, you can't fault any of the drivers.
We actually got to look at it here. This
is
the final restart. And
so he went from bottom lane to top lane, and I'm just kind of look at it here and
she did good with somebody down to the inside there. I mean, she didn't.
How she even
gave
got
plenty of room
back into this situation is pretty.
The only thing I question is I've heard people say that I think it was the 9 car or the 6 car. Somebody pushed her into Krause, and I don't see that there.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do.
A little bit.
You see it?
Can you?
Yeah, you can watch the 19 wiggle a little bit.
Tom, go back. All right here.
Watch the 19
See,
wiggle.
I missed that.
See that? Bang, right there.
Okay.
She's turning in there, but she does get some help down in the corner.
I mean, to me, he did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. He was trying to protect his turf. I mean, he could have given her more room down to the inside. And if you just go back the lap or the turn before that, when she had the 9 car down to her inside, there was a good 2-3 feet, maybe 2 feet between those race cars. Right here, she gives him plenty of room, 2 lanes worth. And then, like I said, he's trying to protect it, so I don't fault him for that. No. And she's going for the win. I don't fault her for that.
He had a lane down there on his move, and she, and then he used her all the way up. Like, you could fit another car down the bottom. They were almost 4 wide there for a second.
And to be honest, that's on a restart. You said that's a third of a mile, Cody? That looks like a big third of a mile, but
yeah, but Lee looks big, New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's a third of a mile.
Hey, like I said, it's great for racing. It's great for talking points, and it put it onto a national level. So, I want to tell everybody out there, don't forget, share this on Facebook and share your comments. If you've seen both videos or one video or the other video and you have an opinion, kind of like I think you said Richard did, share your comments. And also we have, which I think Dylan was alluding to there before, we have some guests coming up. Starting off, we're going to have Zach Evans, one of our 51ers, who's currently out in the Midwest. He's out in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, getting ready for Money in the Bank tonight. We got Josh Venato, the Bullring Bash Series at 7:45 scheduled. We're also going to bring the big man on. Bob Dillner's going to be on just after the 8 o'clock hour. We got David C. from Virginia Motor Speedway. Dan Fredrickson is going to talk to us about the Milwaukee Mile. We have Brian Campbell. We're going to go back and forth on how to say that name, Campbell. Campbell. He's going to talk Money in the Bank, and we're going to finish things up with Wesley Outland, who obviously is not on the desk this week. But
did he fall asleep? Is he still sleeping?
He's sleeping. Zach said that he had the TV blaring this morning in the hotel room, so Zach actually had to leave the hotel room in order to talk to us this morning. So we're going to touch base with all those people. Fun show coming up. And we appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget, share it on Facebook and share us your comments. If you have questions for any of the guests coming up, please chime in, and we'll do our best to get all those.
Yes, we will. We're going to try and be inclusive to everybody. We want everyone involved.
Do we want to go to the Hyperco performance line?
We need to go to the Hyperco performance line.
Wait a minute. We got actually.
Uh-oh.
He's been on the show, but he's a first-time caller.
Oh. Mr. Zach Evans, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing all right. How are y'all?
Man, it's a great day to be alive. You know that.
Absolutely.
What are you doing up there? How's Michigan treating you?
Right now, it's pretty comfortable outside. As Mark alluded to, I've stepped outside the lovely accommodations here close to Marne, Michigan, where we'll be going to Money in the Bank this evening. It was just a little noisy in my hotel room between the television and the snoring, so I figured I'd enjoy some fresh air while talking to you boys.
Wesley does snore. I tried telling him that after, I don't know where we stayed, but I kept getting on him for snoring, and he kept saying, no, man, I was tired. I said, I don't care what you were, that what you were was snoring. So thank you for backing me up on that, Zach.
That sounds like the conversation we had after the rain out at Volunteer a couple of weeks ago.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yes, I believe that's what it's called in the business, is a theme.
Zach, so tell us, what are some important things, some notes, some little nuggets that we could give some of these people listening this morning about the Money in the Bank race?
Money in the Bank. First off, the allure behind it is it's a one-day show, $20,000 to win, at a pretty challenging track up there at Berlin. But, one-day show, get some people on Monday that, some faces you normally wouldn't see travel up there going up against the local super late model guys, because that's kind of their home track top division, so to speak. So you get to see who will play out victorious. Will it be one of the local stars, one of the guys that battles for the track championship each week, or will it be one of these outsiders? You've got guys like Bubba Pollard going in there. It's hard to call Brian Campbell an outsider. He has plenty of experience there, but he is somewhat representing CRA these days. And then you've got guys like Casey Roderick making the trip up there as well. That was a late breaking news last week, a late entry, jumping into a Rowdy manufacturing car out of Donnie Wilson's shop. He's going to be going up there with Donnie as well for Money in the Bank. So it's going to be a pretty interesting evening, and I advise everyone listening to check it out tonight on Speed 51.
So how excited are you to get to the track? I mean, we've had a long weekend here at Mother Nature. Forecast is looking good. So, how excited are you for the Money in the Bank?
I'm really excited. It'll be my first time to see Berlin in person. Obviously, I watched Money in the Bank last year on Speed 51, and seen other races there over the years, especially since they are one of the fans' choice tracks. But this will be my first time being there in person, and I'm really excited about that, and excited to see this race play out. Last year's race was really exciting, and I don't see any reason to think it will be any different this year.
Zach, now I'm still kind of new to the straight rail portion of racing that we're doing, but how often does someone like Casey Roderick jump in a competitor's car like Donnie Wilson? Like, I feel like that's a pretty unique situation and pretty different.
It is. It absolutely is, and that's something that Cody Geyer touched on in his story on Speed 51. I mean, I believe, and I'd have to go back and double check it, but it's been several years since he has driven for somebody other than Ronnie Sanders, whether it be pro or super late model. And it's kind of a deal that really came together last minute. His intentions for the weekend were to drive for Ronnie Sanders in the pro late model, both at Five Flag Speedway and Montgomery Motor Speedway, with that little pro late model doubleheader they had this past weekend. Mother Nature, as Cody mentioned, kind of threw a wrench into that, and he had some idle hands for the weekend, and so they exchanged some phone calls and worked out a deal for him to come up north for this race and participate. So that's kind of how that deal came together. But like you say, it's definitely not something you see often at all with Casey Roderick.
So also on the card for tonight, the Main Event Outlaw Tour is making their first appearance at Berlin of the season. Now, I'm from northern Indiana, big-time outlaw super late model country. So as a North Carolinian, how excited are you to see them?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely exciting, too. I will admit that's not a car we see around here much, so I don't really have a great idea what to expect. I've seen videos and broadcast stuff like that, but seeing them in person, I'm not really sure what to expect. But definitely looking forward to seeing something different. That's something really cool about going to a place that I've never been before, or area of the country I've really only been once, with the Winchester 400 a couple of years ago, and obviously there weren't any outlaw late models there. So it's going to be cool to see that for the first time and check it out.
Now, you said this is your first time up at Berlin, Zach?
It is.
I can tell you, you're in for a treat. They have an absolute world-class facility up there. It's unlike almost any other track out there as far as just the way it's built. It was for a lot of years. It was run by a minor league ball team, so they have a lot of those aspects in there. They care a lot about the fan interaction. They've got a great announcing crew up there, like 3 or 4 people at times. They've got a video board in turn 3. And the one thing about the track is it's almost like a big Seekonk Speedway, and the fact that you're always turning. There's no straightaways there, and it's so fast. But I was fortunate enough to go there a couple times the last few years, and it's just the crew up there. Nick Mesman, who kind of runs the place, I believe that was his name, but super nice guy. The staff up there is great, but the facility itself is just absolutely world class. So. What time are you heading out to the track today?
Probably around 10:30. I'm gonna have to double check the direction, so to speak. But I'm pretty sure we are located fairly close to the track, and we want to be there around 11 with practice starting at 12. So that's probably around the time we'll leave, is around 10:30.
And then, of course, for people that can't be there, we have the live pay-per-view, and so, I honestly, I'm going to confess, I don't know what time it starts today, Zach. So I'm hoping because I'm throwing you under the bus here. What time or putting you on the spot?
What a nice guy. Just really,
what a nice guy.
Just sets you up to be like, it's all you, Zach. Thanks. Go ahead.
We are showing the feature races this evening, and if I remember correctly, I looked at the schedule last night.
Are you at the track already?
It sounds like they're feature racing behind you.
Right as I got this question, this dude in an RV is he's pulling a trailer. He must be a racer. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he gets a pass then. He gets a pass.
Somebody just tried to storm onto the morning bull ring here. But yeah, 6:30 Eastern time. Unfortunately, Berlin Eastern time, so I don't have to do any of that math in my head and stuff. But
I was just trying to do the math. I wasn't sure where that sat. If it was
it's
central.
we flew into Chicago, so we landed in Central time, and then drove back into Eastern time, and it was funny because Wesley was trying to do the math in the car, and I was like, "But the track's in Eastern time. Don't worry about it." But he didn't believe me until he saw his phone physically change back over to Eastern time. I don't know what I'm talking about. He's the expert.
He knows with the math, it's literally just 1 hour, right?
Cody,
Yeah, well, you know.
Cody, his head was like all fuzzled out, like smoke rolling out the ears, trying to figure it out. Oh man!
Yeah, good times. Good times.
Good times with Wesley Outland. I mean,
So who's your pick? I'm going to put you on the spot again, Zach. Who's your pick tonight?
Oh my gosh.
Since Patrick Hahey has failed and we haven't done staff picks this year, but like one time, which I think was for Speed Weeks.
You're right. Well, we did a few times before that. I think he got some undue criticism on the staff picks. I think he just finally was like, well, if you guys don't like what I'm doing, I'm quitting. I think that's what happened there.
All right, enough dodging. Who's your pick?
Well played.
touche.
Gosh. Let's go with, you know what? Let's say Casey Roderick. I'll go out on that.
It's not a bad pick.
Even though he is going to be a first time in that car for him, only today's practice sessions to work with. It's not one of those multi-day shows where you can get dialed in, but why not?
Tom's hitting buttons back here. So, anyways, no, Casey's not a bad pick because last year was his first time ever at that track. Granted, it was with the Ronnie Sanders car, so he knew the car, but I want to say he was running inside the top 5, even top 3 at one point during that race last year. So that's a solid pick.
Yeah, he was one of the biggest movers in the race last year. He started about 16th, worked his way to the top 5 late, but had some contact late in the race and fell down to 7th. So he's a pretty good pick for tonight's Money in the Bank 150.
Well, who's your pick going to be?
I'm going to go Johnny Van Dorn. I mean, he's a local guy there. He knows the track really well, former Berlin 251 winner, and I think he'll get it done here tonight.
He's got some good success here recently too with those JVD race cars. So that's a solid pick. I got to go with Brian Campbell. I mean, the guy's just dominant at Berlin, and then last year to hold off, and I say hold off, he just flat out beat Kyle Busch and Bubba Pollard is all there is to it. So you had, 2 of the best, if not the best, in super late models, and he beat them. So that hometown turf, when you're defending that, there's nothing quite like that, I don't think. So I got to pick Brian Campbell.
Yeah,
Mamba?
You took mine. You took the words right out of my brain, not even my mouth because it didn't come out that fast. My brain. You were like in there this morning.
So you're picking Campbell also?
I'm Campbell. I'm taking Campbell. You take Campbell. I take Campbell.
Tom, who you taking? Bubba's not running. Is he?
He is.
Yeah.
Bubba is running?
Yeah, he's running.
Yeah.
So this is a first, I think. We just had
That's what I was
4
gonna say. I
people
was gonna
pick
butt
race
in.
winners, and nobody picked Bubba Pollard. That's scary.
I'm not picking Bubba because I don't want to pick Bubba. I'm picking Campbell. I'm picking him, Brian, because when those guys come in and you're touring around and you come into someone's home turf, one of those guys stands out always, and I think he'll be the one that stands out that can put up a good fight.
I mean, Bubba Pollard's run fairly well at Berlin. He won the first Money in the Bank 2 years ago, and he's finished second in the 251, what seems like 30 times. So, I mean, he's a good pick, but the locals there at Berlin are tough to beat.
And let's not forget, last year when he when he finished as well as he did, he was coming off of 3 races in 4 days in 2 different states because he raced in Michigan. It wasn't Michigan, or there it is, Tom. Wow, Tom.
Tom's
That's good.
on it.
He did Birch Run to Anderson and then back to Berlin last year and won 2 out of those 3. So
Yeah,
Dylan, did you see this last year? This was on our network. This is called Bubba Pollard Mission Impossible. We followed him through all 3 tracks from Five Flags to Anderson. Not Five Flags.
Sonoy.
Birch Run.
Birch Run. Mark just explained it all. Anyway, check this out on the network. We're going to probably tease it later on this week. but it's a really cool package that basically all of our producers and people at all the different tracks helped with, and it came out really well.
Yeah, that's impressive. He went basically to the same area twice, and like, you know what I mean? Like he went the whole stretch twice in that short amount of time. That's wild.
Yeah,
That's a good graphic.
I was there for the 2 races in Michigan, and it was cool to be a part of that and to see him be so successful. I mean, he won the first 2 races at Birch Run and Anderson, South Carolina, and then was leading late at last year's Money in the Bank 150 before he got passed off a restart by Campbell. So along with that, it's going to be interesting to see how he does tonight.
So, Zach, other than that, what else you got coming up? You're staying up in the Midwest this weekend, aren't you?
Yes,
this week.
I'll be staying up here through, the flight back will be next Monday morning. I will be going to the Milwaukee Mile next Sunday for the Father's Day 100 with the ARCA Midwest Tour. Really excited about that.
I'm jealous.
Going back to the Milwaukee Mile. Also believe I'm squeezing in ARCA at Madison on Friday. So, fun times up in Wisconsin coming up, which will actually be Central Time.
Zach's about to turn into a cheesehead, fellas, real quick. You need to bring home some cheese curds while you're up there for us. Like,
I second that.
Like, if you don't, I'll be really disappointed.
You sure you don't want me to bring you like an Aaron Rodgers jersey or something?
Who's that? Oh, that's Danica's boyfriend. That's right. Yeah. No, I'm good.
Wow. You just got Zach kind of speechless there.
It's early this morning, but I'm ready to go, fellas. I'm ready to go.
Oh, man. But, yeah, it should be a fun little trip. You'll just have to live without me in the office for a few days.
The Milwaukee Mile deal, I'm really jealous about. I've loved that racetrack. Like, I remember watching the Busch Cars race there and the trucks race there. And when iRacing first came out, that was one of the first tracks that was on there. And so, Zach, you got my heart this weekend going to Milwaukee Mile.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like you say, I mean, being able to watch those races back in the day there with, the Busch Series, the Truck Series, that even at one time, IndyCar, during the, it used to be that traditional date, they'd leave Indy and they'd go to the Milwaukee Mile next. And, just seeing all the racing there over the years has always been very cool. So looking forward to going there in person, adding that to my list of tracks.
And that race will also be pay-per-view coverage here on speed51.com. But what are you expecting come Sunday at Milwaukee?
I honestly don't know what to expect. I mean, the biggest track I had seen cars of that type on was this year at Richmond with the Commonwealth Classic. I'm sure it'll be a very exciting race, but it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there are some of those Wisconsin veterans, they'll have kind of an idea what they're getting into, but at the same time, it's probably got to be a lot of storylines to follow throughout the weekend to see who acclimates to a track of that size the quickest and who puts themselves in the position, because you think it's a 100 lap race around that big of a track. There's got to be a lot of comers and goers and mechanical issues and maybe even a few incidents too. It's going to be very interesting to follow that whole time there at the Milwaukee Mile.
So I'm going to put you on the spot again. Who's your pick?
Oh my! This man, no. Zach. Oh, I'm sorry. No. He's just savage this morning.
No, I don't. I couldn't even venture a guess yet. I'm right now. I'll be on. This is gonna be a cop out answer, but it's the truth. Right now, my focus, as far as that goes, has been on Money in the Bank. I haven't even so much as looked at the entry list for Milwaukee yet. I'll be honest. So
when all else fails, just say the guy that takes the checkered flag. So.
When all else, yes, that is fair. So, but it'll be a really strong list. I mean, all of the, whether it be the ARCA Midwest Tour or even Tundra, all of those series up there get such good. I mean, the Wisconsin Super Late Model Racing community is just so healthy right now. So it's going to be a strong field of cars there.
They haven't been able to go. Like, this is a crown jewel. Being up in New England, when you could run around Loudon, like going to Loudon to New Hampshire Motor Speedway was like, So I got to imagine being able to race at, Milwaukee Mile for those guys is going to be just, the bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
The bee's knees.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to talk to one of them coming up at 8:40. Dan Fredrickson is scheduled to be on the show.
He's going to be on the Hyperco hotline.
He's going to be on the Hyperco hotline, scheduled at 8:40. So I got to find out, make sure we told him Eastern time, not Central time, because we have made that mistake a couple times. Thankfully, I think he's only an hour behind. So
that's not bad.
Yeah,
he'll make it up.
It's not as bad as when we call Derek Thorne or Jeremy Dawson, forget to tell them.
Ooh, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, and we've done that. So
Brandon Paul likes to occasionally call me alarm clock because I pulled that with Tanner Thorson one time, and he's way out on the West Coast. So
speaking of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but speaking of Tanner Thorson,
got excited there.
How about what he was able to do last Thursday night? I think it was Thursday. Was it Thursday?
Yeah.
Pulled off a win in Indiana Midget Week. So great story there, able to come back. I think it's only been maybe 3 months since his big wreck in California. So what a great story, and just to see him climb out and then to read his tweets and everything, you can see it means just that much more to him, and he was really appreciative. But that was really cool to see Tanner Thorson getting a win last week.
And, if it wasn't for a wreck at Bloomington on Friday night, he very well could have been Indiana Midget League champion.
That would have been incredible.
So he's really integrated into the stuff that you watch growing up, Cody. So, just kind of tell us a little bit about that group of people. I mean, the midget, the dirt guys, the open wheel sprint car guys. Like what? It's kind of a community, a traveling community on that deal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, and then especially in Indiana where wingless sprint racing is big, compared to most of the rest of the country that has the wing cars. But it's really just one big family. You go to the track, you really see the same drivers. You can really get connected to them.
Yeah, I think that's always cool. Like that's one thing about the kind of the dirt community, and they travel so much. They're always on a tour, so it's like they're really tight knit. And we kind of saw that with the street stock guys from Bristol at the U.S. Short Track Nationals the other week, so too.
And the compacts.
And the
compact guys, they do it.
They travel well.
It's kind of cool because even the modifieds up in the Northeast kind of have that whole little camaraderie. It's like they have their own deal, and it's pretty neat to see.
I always appreciate that because that's like the core of us. Like that's what short track racing is about, and that's what racing is about in general.
And you're kind of even seeing it today there at Money in the Bank at Berlin. I mean, Donnie Wilson and Casey Roderick have raced against each other for years. And I mean, honestly, when I first heard, that Casey was going to be running his car, it was like, really? Because you always think of these guys as competitors, and they compete, pretty hard against each other. But when push comes to shove, they all, for the most part, they all kind of look out for each other. And so Casey goes up there now and going to be in a Donnie Wilson. Well, it's a Rowdy manufacturing car, but it's a Donnie Wilson race car. Trevor Knowles has driven. Cody did a good story on it on Speed 51 last week. He even fixed his little typo that I pointed out last night to him. But he just had
to give me that little dig.
Of course.
Uncle Mark over there, like, hey, remember that time I helped you out? Yeah. Hey, Zach, you can't see it. You probably can see it. I don't know if you got your computer in front of you, but
he's outside.
I did not bring my computer outside.
I don't know. This Wi-Fi outside sometimes. Listen, I got yellow Beats headphones on right now, and I just want to let you know that if the Bees win, at least your team lost to the Stanley Cup champ, so that's not a terrible deal.
That's not a terrible deal. We did watch Game 6 here in the hotel last night. Got here about halfway through the first period, I reckon. And I reckon, yeah, as always, you always know you're talking to a hockey fan when they drop an "I reckon" in the conversation. Not an A or a, Anyway, guys. But. Yeah, we did watch that, and unfortunately for the Blues fans out there, it was not much of a game. But, who can argue with getting as a neutral at this point, who can argue with getting a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, Game 7 sports, like, that's why, in NASCAR, they got the playoff system the way it is because it gives you that Game 7, you got to win or else you don't win anything. And it's kind of like football. It's cool.
Yeah, but that's what makes Game 7 special. Is
Exactly.
you don't get it every time.
Oh,
That's
well.
when it happens and it plays out. It's like, oh, cool, we got to Game 7. That's what I don't like about the playoff. It's like it artificially creates that Game 7 moment. You know you're going to get the Game 7 moment, so why watch games 1 through 6, which is really games 1 through 35
that's
in the case of NASCAR.
Yeah, but I like that because with the knockout races, and you never know who's going to. And then now with the format in 2020, with some of the tracks that are going to be in that format,
Doggy.
that's
Ooh,
going to be
doggy.
Yes.
insane. Absolutely insane.
Yes. They have at least stepped up the game there so that some of those elimination races are at very intriguing venues. But
What would you guys think about? I mean, it's probably taboo to even mention this, but
Then why do it?
Huh?
Then why do it?
because we're talking about it. What if we had some kind of system in place like that in short track racing?
Like the crown of champion? Like you mean like a national champion type of deal?
Yeah, it doesn't even need to like be a national champion. It can be like just a big, like because Five Flags and Montgomery, they do a good job of working together. Like I feel like if you could do a little playoff system in some form of touring series, it'd be kind of cool. I always appreciate
There used to be. I mean, back in the day, they had the. I can't even remember the name of it, but between Mobile and Five Flags, they did a super late model series. I think South Alabama Speedway was involved in one for a while, but I think the support for it fell off over time. So I think that's what hurt it. But and you're even seeing somebody like Pass, they've got their national champion where they combine some of their biggest races and they run for national points. I think the support has to come back up for things like that. In a big way, even track championships, by and large, turned into attendance awards, and you can't fault the guys that show up every week and win the award. But is it a championship just because you showed up every week? I mean, like I said, you can't fault them for it. You can't blame them for who's showing up and who's not, because they're the ones that are at the track and they're the ones that are putting on the show. But I think the support needs to come back up for things like that. When people try to put it together, take some of the biggest races and make some type of national championship. But at the end of the day, it all takes money because nobody's racing for nothing, So that's my 2 cents.
I mean, CRA's done a playoff type system for their championship the last 2 years, and it's really, well, especially for the ARCA CRA Super Series, it's added a whole new element to the Winchester 400, which is played as the season finale.
It's made Winchester a lot of fun the last, 2 years? I think they're in their second year or third year this year of doing it. But, yeah, it's made the Winchester 400 for all the divisions, not just the Super Series, but the Jags All-Stars Tour. I think they have the street stocks there, and I thought there was one other, but maybe not. But, yeah, it puts a whole new dynamic into that whole weekend. Sounds like Zach's going to get blown away out there.
Zach, you only weigh like 100
it's
pounds.
It's a little breezy. It's not that bad. The mic might be picking it up a little worse than it really is, but there's a little breeze.
Well, I tell you what, Zach, we've actually extended your time because we had somebody not be able to come on this morning. But you did a pretty good job of killing time here with us. So we're going to let you go. We're going to be late for our next guest unless we boot Zach off the line here and let him get back into that noisy hotel room.
Zach,
I'm looking forward to it. I can't thank you enough for letting me go back into the noisy hotel room.
first time caller, Zach, welcome to the Morning Bullring with your boy Black
Y'all
Mamba
have a good show, boys.
and the Hyperco.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Oh, he's a good kid. I like Zach.
Zach's a good guy. He's a good. He looks. Me and Tom are very jealous of him because he looks a lot younger than he actually is. But
Yeah. When he told me how old he was, he kind of threw me. I was like,
yeah, I think he threw all of us for a
using
loop.
that cocoa butter.
But
Yeah.
that cocoa butter.
Looks like you could be my age.
Yeah, he looks like he could be about 20. All right,
That sound means a break.
it means break time. We'll be back on the Morning Bullring, presented by Hyperco.
Berlin Raceway has seen the biggest stars race on its banks throughout the 69-year history. Names like Gordon, Seneca, Benson, Wallace, Bush, and so many others. Bubba Pollard and Brian Campbell have conquered Berlin's newest annual tradition, Money in the Bank. It comes just once a year, with the nation's best super late model stars ascending on the historic Marne, Michigan Oval, featuring the Jenks CRA Super Series and main event Outlaw Late Models. This Monday, don't miss the third iteration, Money in the Bank, presented by Primera Plastics. Who will capture the $20,000 winner's paycheck? Find out Monday, June 10th, with a green flag at 6:30. For more track and event information, visit BerlinRaceway.com or call 616-677-5000. Berlin Raceway, where speed belongs. It's dirt slinging, heart pounding, edge of your seat action. It's the 43rd annual USA 100 at Virginia Motor Speedway, Saturday, June 15th. Don't miss the 900 horsepower monsters of dirt and a night of high octane, ground pounding excitement featuring the ultimate super late model series in a $20,000 to win battle. Gates open at 4 p.m. On track action at 6. For info, call 804-758-1867 or go online at vamotorspeedway.com. Saturday, June 15th, Virginia Motor Speedway. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Welcome back to the Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. It is Black Mamba Takeover Morning with my man Cody Geyer. I got Uncle Mark on the ones and twos back there and Tom Ryan. What's up, fellas?
What's going on? You're just loving life this morning.
I
aren't
am.
you?
I know BD's watching me right now just like, oh my goodness.
Hey.
Why did I give him the mic?
It's a great day to be alive.
Look at Cody. Look, Cody's even got, I've even rubbed off so hard on Cody. He got Bojangles this morning and a body armor this morning. Look at that.
Hey, gotta.
Yeah, it's cohesion.
Yeah,
We gotta
cohesion.
do this
Teamwork.
together. Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Exactly. Speaking of teamwork, do we have Mark, do we have him? Yes. On the Hyperco hotline, Josh Veneta. I've actually known Josh for a long time. I grew up racing Allison Legacy cars, and he was the comp director. Josh, you there, buddy?
Hey, man. Good morning. How are you?
Great, man. The Bullring Bash. How excited are you about that? I can't wait to see this event.
We're pretty stoked. I mean, when I stepped away from full-time racing last October, the team of people I was working with was like, you got something special here. We need to keep going. And I decided that we probably should. I've always loved modifieds. And when we started running Legends at Thompson, I really fell in love with those cars. I fell in love with the people. And so we decided to include that as well.
So what are how's the format going to be for the Bullring Bash?
Yeah, so for the modifieds, we're going to run it similar to what the Milk Bowl does. We have 3 segments. The first 2 are 50 laps, and the last is 25 laps. And the purse is paid upon the overall results. So you get a point for your finishing position in each of the 3 segments. The person with the lowest score at the end wins. Think of it, if you like golf, think of it as like a best ball tournament kind of type thing. So in the first segment, we'll line the cars up based upon their heat finishes with an invert. In the second segment, it's a complete inversion of the results from the first segment with a minimum lap time requirement. And then the last 25-lap segment is straight up from the fastest lap times that were turned in the first 50-lap segment. So all the fastest cars at the front for the last 25.
That's pretty wild. Josh, obviously you mentioned the Milk Bowl and kind of using that system. The Milk Bowl at Thunder Road is obviously a crown jewel and close to my heart. As you build this race, who's coming to race with you guys this weekend?
Yeah, so we've got some pretty good names. So we've got Woody Pitcat, who's going to be coming. Obviously, he's a champion, a former champion at Thompson. He's coming with Stan Mertz as his car owner. We've got Russ Hersey coming, who's a multi-time champion in New Hampshire, formerly in super late models, but he's found some success recently in the past couple of years in modifieds. He's going to be there as well. We've got Josh Cantera coming up from Maine, as well as Andy Shaw. He's going to be coming over. So we got some locals and expecting quite a few entries on the day of the race. On the Legends side, we've got a pretty stacked field. We've got people coming from as far as Long Island, New York. Kevin Nowak's coming. He's a pretty accomplished racer in Legends. Noah Corner, who's a former national champion, he's going to be there. So it's a pretty thick roster.
So, where did you get the idea for this for the Bullring Bash?
Actually, I've been thinking about doing something like this for about 10 years, and the right opportunity just hadn't presented itself yet. So with me stepping away from full-time racing, I had some time to do this and work on this project, and I felt like we had the connections in the industry with the teams and with the vendors and the suppliers to be able to do it. And I felt that we had, as a group of people, we have a really strong base of officials that I felt was up for the project. So we all talked about it, and everybody said, without batting an eye, let's go for it.
Josh, we've known each other for a long time. You were there when I demolished my first house in Legacy Car Monadnock, and when your brother went on to win the championship that year, and we became pretty good buddies. What does this event mean to you? Like being able to build a crown jewel event like this, hopefully for the future. What's it mean to you as you've been in racing for a long time? Just kind of talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been reflecting on that the past couple of days. Obviously the success we had at Thompson was a lot of fun. And as I move on to this next stage, something that's entirely my own. I had the privilege of running Thompson like it was my own, but I didn't own it. And now this is my own, and you get to build it from the ground up. Before Tom Curley died, he and I had become friendly in his last couple of years, and I had learned a lot from him. And I think Chris Michaud's retaining a lot of the good that Tom had, and even building on some of that. And so we talk a lot, and he gives me a lot of good advice. But it's pretty special for me to be able to, start something from scratch, build it. And we know that there are going to be bumps on the road. We're not perfect, but to be able to build it and continue to nurture it. And Chris and I are committed to doing this and building something really unique out of it. I mean, Dylan, you grew up in that area. Modified racing really does not come up that far. And I think bringing it up there's a market for it. There are people who are genuinely interested in it. And I think bringing it up there, and then we can see where we can expand beyond that.
Yeah, you say that. I remember watching the True Value Modifieds a couple times at Thunder Road, and what Chris and them are doing over there is really cool, and it's really awesome to down here. The racetracks and the promoters really work together to do the best job, I feel like, for everybody, and it sounds like you guys are kind of taking that mold and working together to make an event such as this so big and so special for everybody. That's pretty cool, man.
Thank you.
Will there be a point system for the Bullring Bash?
Great question. No, there won't be. When we've talked with the teams, and they feel really good about that. We've actually talked with them as recently as last week about whether we should have a point system or not, and they said absolutely not. Just provide us with high quality, high paying races, and we'll keep coming.
So there's no so there won't be a champion. Is that what it's just kind of or how's that going to work out? Is there going to be like a champion at the end of it, or?
There's a champion every time we go home. And there's no champion at the end of the Bullring Bash. Nope. There's a champion at the end of every event.
Is there any thought to, in the future to see how this grows and everything, is there any thought to possibly doing that down the road? Or, I mean, personally, I kind of like the format because you're making every race special in and of itself, or every event, I should say, not just because since it's multiple segments, but making every event special as opposed to, we've talked before about sometimes championships can turn into attendance awards. Is there any talk maybe in the future once you see the support that you get for the events to maybe having a champion down the road, or do you just want to kind of keep it with every event being, a special event in and of itself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good question, and thank you. Yeah, I'd say I've learned in this business you never say never, but our intention is not to have a championship, which goes from race to race, because when we want people coming, we want them racing as hard as they possibly can at that event. And so we don't even call ourselves a series, and that's on purpose. We call ourselves just a trio of all-star events. That's who we are. And so down the road, if we build on the number of events that we have, maybe we'll decide a championship format is necessary. But I don't think that's not on the immediate horizon. And that's really out of a product of what I learned at Thompson, which was that when I came there, we were running 23 events a year or so, started scaling back, and then we renovated the property and came in and we had the road course. And so we modified our schedules significantly and went to 7 major events. And what the feedback we heard from the team is initially obviously was outrage, but once the emotions calmed down, we went through a season, we got a tremendous amount of positive feedback on that because the people said, you know what, for the first time in 20 years, I took a vacation with my family. Or, I broke and I had the time to get the money and I'm able to come back today as a result of having 3 weeks off or something like that. And I think if we're seeing anything right now in racing, at least in the Northeast, I can't speak for the rest of the country, we're seeing that racers want choice. If you look at the Tri-Track Modified Series, who we have a great relationship with, there's 6 events. Yes, they have a championship. But at the end of the day, some people will go race there. They'll go race a couple of MRS races. They'll do Bullring. They might do a modified tour race or two. The championship, in my view, isn't what it used to be, say 15, 20 years ago, where you just couldn't even imagine not going for a championship or not attending every race. I think there's a shift going on up here. That's what I've seen.
So our Connor Sullivan posted a comment on our live stream on Facebook. He's excited for the race at White Mountain. I'm excited as well. So what can we expect with the Bullring Bash?
I think you can expect some close racing. The thing to watch for is going to be in the modified division. You're going to want to watch the second segment. That's where the overall is going to be won or lost, because you've got people who may have won the first segment that have to go all the way to the back and then march their way back through and get a reasonable finish without wrecking in 50 laps on a quarter-mile racetrack. And then the last segment will take care of itself, really, when you line up by lap times. So you'll have the fast cars at the front. But that second segment is absolutely critical to success. When it comes to Legends, I think just qualifying for the race itself is going to be a feat. And then for 35 laps, we're going to watch those guys duke it out. You've got some heavyweights. Should be really entertaining.
I think you put together, what sounds like it's going to be just an incredible event, and 2 totally different styles of racing on a quarter mile between, modifieds, which are, the high horsepower, a lot of beating and banging and bumping, but then you've got, the legend cars, which can spread out. I watched Legends for years on a 3/8 mile down at Orlando Speed World, but I think quarter mile, it's like the perfect size track for a Legends car, because they can beat and bang and still get that short track feel, but it's open enough that they can pass. So, for the fans in the stands, have you heard a lot of fan feedback going into this? I know you said you've talked to the drivers and kind of gotten their input for what they've seen. Have you heard anything from some of the potential fans that are going to be there, either at White Mountain or or in the future events, as to what they're looking forward to?
I think generally folks are just excited that we're bringing modifieds up to White Mountain. And the feedback from the Connecticut crowd is that they're excited to go to a new track. It's a novelty. So that's really what we've heard. And I think when we get to Thunder Road, that's where you're really going to see some excitement, because they're used to this type of format. They see this every year. And Dylan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's in September.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Yeah, so they see that every year. So we're bringing something that they're familiar with. It's just a different style race car.
Man, that's awesome. The whole event is just going to be great. I'm really excited for you and everything you got going on. What do you feel? How do you feel about the Legend Car program? Like I said, you were a part of my Allison Legacy start. So obviously you're grounded in the foundation of race car drivers and the fans and getting families to the racetrack. How important do you see the Legend cars being up in the Northeast region?
Well, the Northeast has the highest concentration of Legend cars of anywhere in the country, is the information that I've gotten. And so my thinking is that it's some of the best racing around, and it deserves the recognition, deserves the higher paying events. That's part of the reason why we're doing this. The interest on the Legend side is very, very high. I think we might all be surprised by how many cars are there once we actually arrive and see who registers day of. But I think we'll all be surprised at that. I think that the style of racing is good. If you talk to some of the guys, some of your own friends that have come up through Legends, they're some of the hardest race cars to drive because of the short wheelbase. And so you learn a lot of skills in that. I think, and eventually we have hopes that we can graduate some of our Legend drivers up into our modified program.
So we got Rich commenting on our Facebook Live. He's really excited for the 3 Bullring Bash events, and he thinks you and your staff have put together a great program. But all 3 races of the Bullring Bash will be live streamed on the Speed 51 network. So how cool is it to get this new group going and for it to be live streamed in front of a nationwide audience?
Well, I have to thank Bob and all of you guys. I mean, we hadn't even announced for an hour, and Bob was getting in touch with me to see if he could broadcast the races. So that was humbling, and we're grateful for that. I think it just helps us to raise the bar, and it fits in perfectly with what we're trying to do, which is extraordinary levels of promotion. Really just trying to get the drivers out in front of the biggest audiences, get our sponsors out in front of the biggest audiences that we can, and making sure that they're getting the high visibility. And people throughout the country know about the type of racing that we have here in the Northeast. We've got some of the biggest fields and the most competitive racing in the entire country.
Well, Josh, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. I'm excited about what you got going on up there. I don't get to make it back home enough to enjoy some good racing, but it's been great talking to you, and excited to see how this event goes for you guys.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Josh Veneta running the Bullring Bash. Veneta. I've never got his name right. Like, I've known
You've
his
known him the
family,
longest out
and
of
I
all of
can't-
us.
It's like that real hard Italian kind of, and I'm just kind of lost in the fray.
Yeah, whenever I first saw his last name, I thought it was Veneta.
Veneta. It's like tomato.
We're gonna have fun with names because we got Campbell coming up later too. So.
Campbell.
If you listen to the commercial, even Dave Moody said Campbell.
That's because we had a couple Campbells racing at Thunder Road, so Moody was used to calling that name.
And also, Jeff Striedel at MRN used to announce at Berlin, so there's that connection there as well.
That little look at Cody with the little nuggets. He's just dropping little nuggets in there for us.
So that's why we keep him around.
I like him. He's got all nugs, no sauce though.
No comment.
Never heard that before.
I know. I just made it up.
You just got to be careful tossing wire to him off the roof of Bristol, though. Apparently.
Oh my Lanta! That was like 1,000 feet, right?
Yeah,
Of
1,000
wire?
foot of cable.
And probably
700 feet of
at
it.
least of it was in a disarray mess. And I'm like, Cody, he caught it, but he caught the two ends, so the middle just fell through. And I was like, oh.
In my defense, part of it was already messed up to begin with. So
That's what I would say, too.
All right, we'll be back on the Morning Bullring.
We're going to take a break. We got the big man coming up next.
Ooh, the big man,
Boss
Bob Dillner.
man.
Bob Dillner.
It's Kids Bike Race Night at Five Flags Speedway this Friday. Plus the Alan Turner Pro Late Model 100 with the second race on the road to the Snowflake. Then the Sportsman and the Pure Stocks. Kids 11 and under free. See you at the races.
Speed 51's Video Network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
It's just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The ROC Modified, Saturday, June 15th at Lake Erie Speedway, driven by Pro Ways. Night at the Races, presented by Jim Moss Builders, featuring ROC Modifieds, must-see racing sprints, ROC TQ midgets, and the ROC 4-cylinder dash series, plus fireworks and Twin State Auto Club night. Lake Erie Speedway, June 15th. Don't miss this tremendous event. Visit LakeErieSpeedway.com to purchase tickets.
We are back with the Morning Bullring. It's the Black Mamba takeover. I'm so excited to be here, presented by Hyperco. Got my man Cody Dreyer. Cody,
Yeah, I'm excited to be here as well, co-hosting here with you.
man, it's a real honor. You know what? Also is an honor. The two old guys in the back, Uncle Mark, Tom Ryan.
Old guys.
Oh, Tom just had a birthday last week.
Yeah, he did. I'll never be as old as Tom, though. I keep telling him that. Well, you went there.
He has a good point.
All right.
All right.
I mean, I won't ever be as old as any of you guys. So
This is a very good point.
yeah, even when you guys die, he'll still probably never catch you.
Wow. I don't know how to take that.
Exactly. You could
Let's-
think I was being rude, but I wasn't, maybe.
Let's take it to the Hyperco Performance line.
Hyperco Performance Line, the boss man, Mr. Bob Dillner. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Mamba?
Dude, I'm so excited. Your chair feels a little more comfortable than mine. I don't know what it is about this side, but I feel a little more proper this morning.
Well, you know what it is right now? It's really tough to hear you because of the waves crashing from the ocean here at the beach.
Yeah, Bob, where are you right now exactly?
I'm in Myrtle Beach, having fun, having the camper out a little bit, having some fun with the fam, you know, just having a good time. Actually, out in a golf cart right now with my son Levi, and we're going through the campground because my wife and my other son they were actually still sleeping.
Yeah, Bob, we actually had you didn't see it, but we had a great picture of you on the beach. You look great, man. You look great.
I mean, you look.
That was all Tom Ryan. So, Bob, you can imagine what that was.
Oh boy, I haven't checked it out yet. I haven't even listened to the show, so I don't know how much you screwed it up yet.
Oh, it's been bad.
You look like you look like that face from the old Mad magazines on basically planted on David Hasselhoff's body.
Oh well,
Yeah.
at least I got a body, right?
Yeah.
Better than I got right now. I got a dad bod.
None of us have it right now, except maybe Mamba.
Yeah, I got the goods. I got the goods.
Oh yeah. We know all about Mama. He loves to take those pictures without his shirt on and put them on social media.
But it looks so good, Bob.
That's a personal opinion.
Well, I know you dream about it every once in a while. Just like, dang, I wish I looked like Mamba. Speaking of the dream, though, before we're gonna talk about Kraus and Dean, because I know you got something to say about that. How about the dream at Eldora this weekend? How do you feel about that?
It was cool. I mean, I watched it on dirtondirt.com all weekend, and you know, it was awesome to see 92 cars there. It was a fantastic race. You know, all 3 nights of racing were really cool, and to some degree, I just wish pavement could get to that. You know, there's only a few races on the pavement circuit that really kind of rival that. But, you know, it was really neat. And what I really liked is, you know, that 100 laps for $125,000 for the winner. And by the way, that too we have to get to in pavement racing at some point. But I digress. That battle between Brandon Shepherd and Dale McDowell was a lot of fun to watch. And the reason why it was fun to watch, honestly, Mamba, is because Dale McDowell's a veteran. These dirt guys have so much respect for each other. When they hit each other, they don't dump each other. They don't spin each other. They don't do anything silly like that. They rub on each other a little bit. But this is what I loved about the finish. And if anybody has not seen the finish, they need to go to Eldora Speedway and their Twitter page or their Facebook page. And they have tweeted the finish of the race. And it was incredible because Dale McDowell found a groove on the second putt, and he was trying to pass Brandon Shepherd. And he got him. On the final corner, he caught him, went to the inside, and I think the thing that you need to take a look at here is basically that Dale McDowell actually turned his car extra sideways to stay off of Brandon Shepherd. He tried to avoid that contact. And I think that's really cool because you wouldn't see that a lot of times in pavement racing, especially with some of the younger kids. And he avoided wrecking Brandon Shepherd, and by virtue of that, he lost an extra $105,000.
I mean, I thought it was really exciting finish. I mean, 100 laps for dirt late models. I mean, it doesn't happen all too often, but for after 100 laps and it to come down to a finish like that, and for them to race clean, well, until they cross the start finish line, it was really awesome to see.
Yeah, but you know, Cody, I mean, yeah, they banged right at the end. But again, I go back to, you know, looking at what Dale McDowell did and staying off of Brandon Shepherd for as long as he could and barely making contact with him. I think that's what's really special. And you know, there's 3 wide sideways, and, you know, there's a T-shirt that says you don't see that on Sundays, and it's true. I mean, it's really fun to watch that, and Eldora is something special. The dream has grown and grown and grown throughout its 25 years, and Of course, we got the World 100 coming up in September at Eldora, and that's going to be a lot of fun as well. I think the 49th or 47th, something like that, edition of that race. A lot of good times. It makes me just look forward to getting back to the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series and for MAV TV as well as Virginia Motor Speedway this weekend with the big USA 100.
Bob, now you talk about avoiding contact. This weekend in the K&N West race, as everyone has seen, there wasn't much avoidance of contact for the end of that race between Kraus and Deegan. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, it was fun to watch social, and I figured, why talk on social? Let's talk on the morning Bullring. That way I don't get into one of these Twitter debates, because there's so many different people with different views on what happened out there. And I look at it this, it's kind of like Mark Keeler and Tom Ryan had a discussion the other day, and Tom's like, well, did you see what the hell he did to him? And Mark said, well, did you see the whole green, white checker finish? And he said, no, I only saw the contact. Well, I said, you need to take a look at the whole thing. And I think these are a couple things to think about that. Number one, it's great, baby. It's awesome. Let's have more of it. The girl's got spunk, okay? She's got a toot. We've never seen this out of a lady, honestly, before that's able to rough it up with the boys. It's perfect for NASCAR. I love it, okay? And we need to keep it coming because the K&N Series, listen, it hasn't had a lot of cars. There's not much to talk about. So this gives us something to talk about, number one. And for that mere fact, I love it, okay, because we're all talking about it on a Monday morning here on the Morning Bullring. But in terms of who's right, who's wrong, okay, here's what I have to say. If you look at it, green, white, checker finish. Haley left the door open a little bit, trying to squeeze the other guy to the outside a little bit. But, and there's a huge but here, Derek Kraus, you go, well, he got in there. He got his nose in there. He knew with a broken sway bar mount, whatever it be, okay, you got that, you're going to push up in the corner. So he knew in the back of his mind, and there's no doubt about it in my mind whatsoever, he knew that he was going to take those two people to the fourth and fifth group, okay? So if he didn't expect any retaliation, he's a fool. He's a fool, okay? And Haley, if you remember back to Toledo, got used up in that race in her ARCA debut. She vowed right then and there that she ain't going to take it anymore. Well, you know what? My dad told me, and this goes back to the old fights in the old grade school days, if somebody punches you in the face, you punch him back twice as hard. Guess what? That's what happened. Derek Kraus had to know, no matter what he wants to say, has to know it was going to come back. Was she going to catch him? He was hoping she wasn't going to catch him before that final lap, but she did. And therefore, guess what? Maybe Derek Kraus doesn't mess with her anymore. Am I saying what she did was right? No. Am I saying what she did I wouldn't do? I would do the same darn thing. Okay? So, two rights don't make a wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. It goes back and forth. So I think the bottom line is we can come out of this saying we're all talking about it, and that's a good thing.
We got some people chiming in on the Facebook, as always, Bob. And Jason Wingo said Johanna Long, who's now Johanna Robbins, won the Derby kind of like that few years back. I mean, it's Cody. It's great talk. It's great talking points. Like Bob's 100% right. Like we want people to notice and come into the sport and be like, man, this is awesome. That's what they need to see, because when we show hype videos leading to Bristol, leading to Martinsville, what are we seeing?
I mean, we see the exact same thing, and with this, I mean, it's cool to see everybody like chiming about it. I mean, we saw Darrell Waltrip, Kevin Harvick, like on the NASCAR broadcast yesterday before the race got postponed, chime in with their thoughts on it, and it's cool. I mean, the series hasn't gotten the best car counts this year, so it's really cool to see the K&N West Series get some attention.
For sure. Well, we got Bobby.
By the way, that was Johanna Longs and Landon Castle, the NASCAR driver, a few years back, and she did boot him in turn one to basically get him out of the way. And you know what happened? Unlike Derek Kraus, okay, and it ruined Landon Castle's race. To some degree, ruined any chance he's ever had at the Snowball Derby victory.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what he did? He walked up to Johanna Long in Victory Lane, shook her hand, said I would have done the same thing.
I just don't. I mean, it's what are you supposed to do? I mean, you want to win the race. Like like people talk about them being teammates a little bit. We talked about it a little bit this morning, Bob. And
Teammates doesn't make a difference.
Right. Well, I made the point.
Listen, yeah.
I just said that they aren't really teammates. The teams are, and they come out of the same place, but someone's still trying to win a race. So.
You think Derek Krause and Haley Deegan like each other? You really think that? You're a fool. Okay? Listen, teammates, especially when you're some of these young guns, and to some degree you're paying for your ride. Okay, you don't want your other teammate to win. It may be fun and going on the lake like some of these kids do in North Carolina when they move there, because the first thing for a race car driver to do, at least a young race car driver, is to move to North Carolina. You don't like that person on the racetrack. You don't want them to win. And if you got that attitude, I don't want you in my race car. I want you to beat the pulp out of that person for the victory. I don't care what you got to do. And so this whole thing of, I applaud Derek Krause for some of his savviness on social media, and I don't blame him for being mad. Okay? If I were Haley Deegan, I would have been mad at Derek Krause. Bottom line. And if I were, Derek Krause, I'd be mad at Haley Deegan. And if I'm Haley Deegan, I'd be mad at Derek Krause. Bottom line, back and forth. Okay? Each one of them, Mama, when you strap in that helmet, and obviously you're a race car driver. I've driven in the past as well. When you strap on that helmet, you can do no wrong. You don't do any wrong. And if you admit to it, hey, that's good of you, okay? I know I've hit some people. I've been put to the back. I'm like, okay, I hit that person. That's my bad, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But the initial deal, like when Haley Deegan is running that race and all of a sudden she sees a teammate, remember a teammate, like you just said, to her inside and running her up 4 or 5 grooves on the racetrack, and she probably knows, her spotter probably told her, her crew chief probably said, hey, Derek's got a broken sway bar, out there. Ain't no way he's going to dive down the bottom because he ain't going to be able to turn the corner. All that's in your head as a young 17-year-old lady. Doesn't matter if you're a lady or a man. Okay? You have all that. You're not gonna think anything but bad about that person, no matter what. And to use the sway bar, to use the sway bar as something that I've seen some social media interaction. Well, he was still able to get that done without the sway bar. The sway bar is partly the reason why he went way up the racetrack, and he knew it. He knew he had that sway bar. I'm not saying what he did was wrong. What I'm saying is you got to understand that you're going to have payback, and that's the bottom line.
So we have a poll going on our Speed 51 Twitter about the move at the end of the race. You can chime in there. So we have from one big dirt late model race to another this weekend. Got the USA 100 at Virginia Motor Speedway. So what are you looking forward to about that?
I'm looking forward to everything. I mean, the Sawyer family has done a great job with that racetrack. Remember, this is the same Sawyer family that ran Richmond International Raceway for so long, and they made that a mecca of dirt tracks. In Jamaica, Virginia. I'm going to Jamaica this weekend. I'm so excited. I told Mark Healy that we were going to Jamaica, and he said, "What?" But we're going to Jamaica, Virginia.
You got him good.
On the dirt track, and Ultimate Super Late models are going to be a blast. And this is really cool because there's a lot of other racing going on, and it's going to be neat because you're going to see some regional racer walk away with a big payday. The Fast Track Series is there, and that's going to be a lot of fun, too, because that's a kind of a tune-up for the Fast Track World Championship in mid-September.
Bob, how important is it for our short tracks to get purses like this one? Like this, you know what I mean? Like to get the cars and the count and the people that we need, how important is it to get kind of that purse fund up?
Well, I think it's important. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of money on the line there this weekend. And in dirt racing, we see that. And what Virginia Motor Speedway is doing this weekend is big. That Fast Track World Championship for a pro late model on dirt, a crate late model is $50,000 to win. Do we have a handful of races like that on the pavement side? No, we don't. You know, you have one race, $75,000 to the winner up at the Canadian Short Track Nationals, Jukasa in Canada. I mean, you have the Oxford 250 with lap money that can do that. You have a couple of $20,000 or $25,000 to win races. We have one today, the Money at the Bank, at Berlin Raceway, 20 grand to the winner. That's going to be a good race. I'm really ticked off that the Cup Series got scheduled on top of that race for a variety of reasons. And obviously, we want to sell tickets. We're not dumb. Okay. I'm not going to avoid that. We want to sell pay-per-view tickets. Honestly, I'd rather see the Berlin Super Late Model race. So I'm going to be watching that tonight from the beach, and it's going to be fun. But I still don't agree. Networks have enough channels these days. They didn't have to actually go and put that race so late in the day because of soccer.
So moving on to the ARCA Menard Series this weekend.
That was a good segue. Moving on. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, Cody's he's being the, I don't even know what to call it, but that's
simple
a good move.
and to the point.
Yeah, right there.
But the ARCA Menard Series, they were at MIS over the weekend. I mean, Michael Self dominated, but it was come down to a great finish with fuel mileage and Ty Majeski. But they'll be at Madison Friday night. You'll be there for the MAV TV broadcast. So how excited are you for that?
I'm excited. I always love working with Jim Trado and the folks from MAV TV with the ARCA Menard Series and getting back to the short track. I mean, listen, Michigan's fun. The other tracks are fun, Pocono, so forth. But there's nothing like getting back to a short track, and that's what we're all about here on C51 is #more short tracks. So I'm looking forward to getting to Madison, Wisconsin. I get my Keysters. I get to see one of my favorite promoters, Greg McCarnes. He and his family own Madison International Speedway. So it's going to be fun. But, will Michael Self win? Possibility. There's going to be a lot of good race cars there, and I'm still looking for Corey Heim or Carson Hostevar to break out. Maybe Christian Eckes gets back to victory lane. There's a lot of good racers there in that series, young racers that we're going to be hearing about. And there's so much, Zach Evans knows this, there's so much racing going on in the Midwest right now. He's at Berlin Raceway today for the Money in the Bank, which you can watch live on Speed 51. Thursday, he doesn't know this, but I believe he's going to be at the Red, White, and Blue race at Katana, Wisconsin International Raceway. Then Friday he's going to the ARCA Menard Series event. And then the Milwaukee Mile gets revitalized and it comes back to life this weekend with Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to be in Wisconsin on Friday, and then I'm going to miss the Milwaukee Mile because I'm going to go to Virginia Motor Speedway. But I'll definitely be watching the Milwaukee Mile on Sunday. I'm going to be at the Virginia Motor Speedway and Madison on Friday and Saturday. So it'll be a big weekend for everybody at Speed 51.
Awesome, man. Before I let you go, I just want to know, because I know how I feel about Milwaukee, and we've talked about it a little bit. How do you feel about Milwaukee Speedway, Milwaukee Mile getting back open?
This is tradition. I mean, it's like culture coming back to life, and that's what you got to love about it. I'm really excited about the event. I'm so happy that Bob Sargent, Adam Mackey, Jim Trado had a hand in this, Greg McCarnes were able to make this happen. And if you're going to Wisconsin this weekend, you've got a heck of a weekend between Takana on Thursday, and then you got on Friday night, you got the ARCA race at Madison, Saturday, Sunday at Milwaukee. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm so excited about the Milwaukee Mile. But you hear my son here. Hey, by the way, what do you want to do, Levi? What do you want to do? Say it. He wants to go to the pool, Bamba. He wants to go to the pool.
Well,
we're
Bob,
out the golf cart and we're passing by the pool. He's got the ocean. We want to go to the pool.
Well, take that kid to a body of water. And I appreciate you giving up your chair on this wonderful Monday morning. And as always, it's a great day to be alive, and you guys have fun out there.
Hey, no problem. We'll be soaking up the rays, and don't worry, I don't tan. I'll be red later. I'll get you guys a picture.
Can't wait for that. All right, Bob. Appreciate you.
See ya.
Bob Dillner on the Hyperco hotline. Cody, it's just been a great morning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fun being up here. I mean, last week I was over there with Mark and doing news.
What's better?
This for sure.
Yeah, it's because the guy sitting next to you, isn't it?
We'll say that for now.
Yeah, that's right. Mark, you're not near as cool as this guy right here. Mark's over there busy. I don't even think he can hear me. I'm just talking smack to him right now. We got some people chiming in on the Facebook. Let's see. Davey Lamont, he said people didn't like Earnhardt because he finished second every week or didn't have a scratch on his car. People liked Earnhardt because he was the intimidator. He didn't care who you were. He'd move you out of the way. NASCAR, out of his way. NASCAR every track, we need more of it. And that's kind of,
I mean, he also posted in the comments, rivalries are what built this sport many years ago. I mean, he goes on to say we need more Deegan Krause or Kenseth Logano. We need more of this in every division. Where racers want to race and win. And then goes on to say fans want to see bump and runs and swapping leaders. I mean, I have to agree with him.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. We want entertainment. We want that entertainment value. And whether it's beating and banging and, and with hard racing comes accidents and wrecks and things of that nature. But that's what we want. We want that grind. We want to see guys getting after it, guys and gals. And I think Deegan really – oh, listen to that. The hotline.
The Hyperco hotline.
Hyperco hotline is back on.
We've got David C. or Dave C.
Dave C.
Dave C.
Dave C., how you doing, my friend?
What's up, guys?
Man, we're having a great morning. It's just fun to be here, and we're glad you could come on with us for a little bit.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Big week for us.
Yeah. Tell us about it, man. $20,000 to win. I'm excited for you guys up there.
Yeah, 50th anniversary season. Not that we don't have $20,000 to win races, because this is our second one of the year. Although we lost the first one, being the king of the Commonwealth. But the USA 100, 43rd annual, one of the country's oldest and more prestigious one-day events. By the way, this is a one-day $20,000 to win show. You can't beat it. And for the late model fans out there, we also added we also have a $3,000 to win fast track crate late model event. So I mean, if you're a late model fan, this is definitely the one to make the plans to be here Saturday, because the weather is looking fantastic.
So between Ultimate and Fast Track, what are you expecting for car counts this weekend?
Well, we've got the World Outlaws are off this week. Lucas is racing somewhere. So we anticipate we'll probably get a few of those outlaw guys, but this is going to be a chance for a regional guy to really have a career shaping win. Last year, storybook, third generation driver Tyler Bear from Rockbridge, Baths, Virginia, picked up his first ever crate late model race. Man, how'd you like to be able to say your first win in super late models was a $20,000 to win? And it kind of proves, I mean, we've had multiple regional guys over the years win this event. Now we've had folks like Scott Bloomquist and win it 4 times, but this is really a regional guy's chance to win a lot of money. And the track is usually very racy. You can usually race from top to bottom. So we're excited. Last year's race was phenomenal. Went down to the last lap. So we're expecting that again. But, average car counts, give or take weather. We've had a high of about 60. We've had a low of 32. So, I mean, somewhere in between that. So it's, my personal guess would be somewhere in the 45 to 50 range.
Now, what's the best way to describe racing for the Ultimate Supers at VMS? I'm not used to dirt late models yet. I'm still getting into it. So for me, what should I expect going into the event?
Well, I will tell you this. This event has been sanctioned by multiple national sanctions, and we moved to the Ultimate Super Late Model Series. 6, 7, 8 years ago, somewhere around there. And the reason behind it, we get higher car counts. We have the racing has, and I'm not just saying this because I work for Virginia Motor Speedway. I am truly saying this. It's some of the best racing I have seen. Some of the best races of the year we have had there at Virginia Motor Speedway. they always put on a great show. The show is run in a timely manner, like any special event. Usually they run a little longer than most. Ours probably run a tad bit longer than most because our pits are on the back side of the racetrack on the other side of a road. But that also allows those guys that want to, once they finish their event, they can pack up and leave and go. And it also gives our fans a phenomenal view at the racetrack with no haulers in the infield. So, the Ultimate Super Late Model Series has always put on great racing. I don't care where they go. Kelly Carlton, race director, Stan Lester, owner and founder of the Ultimate Series and Fast Track, is phenomenal. Those are phenomenal people. When they say they're going to do something, they put so much effort into promoting an event, so much effort to get in on the phones and calling drivers to see if they're going to come visit with us. You'll see during the week on our social media channels, not only Virginia Motor Speedway, but also on the Ultimate and Fast Track, the way we kind of promote the folks that are coming, so we can kind of allow the fans an idea of who's going to show up, and I just because I'm a marketing guy, I'm not saying, I am saying that, I kind of pat myself on the back, but we do a pretty damn good job at it. And we're really excited. Tyler's coming back to try to get that second win. He's got a whole year under his belt in super late models. So he's a former track champion here. By the way, the pro late models, as we call them, but the division that runs the GM 604 crates, they put on a phenomenal race as well. And the last couple of years, them being the secondary event, they have put on one hell of a show, and it comes down to the last few laps as well. So we're expecting great car. And when I said 40 to 50 cars, that was super late models only. That doesn't include the pro late model competitors. So we're gonna have a packed house, I'm sure, especially because weather is looking just phenomenal. So a little wet this week, but Mother Nature just kind of wetting the track for us. So don't have to put a lot of time in the water truck.
Okay, after the rain out, at the King of the Commonwealth, and I've worked at tracks, you never want to be, have to make that call to cancel an event, because you're never going to make it right for everybody. It's either going to be too early for some or too late for some, but you almost can't make the right call. But and you mentioned the ultimate cars coming out. For Fast Track, this is all part of the leading up to the World Championship, which comes up in September. So how many people do you think are just kind of using this and the next race there is a little bit of a test and tune, trying, to get on track and get to see the place and leading up to that?
Well, we did reschedule the Fast Track portion of the King of the Commonwealth to July 20th. We just couldn't find a spot for the super late model portion without stepping on a bunch of other races. And the one thing that we try to do is work with the other tracks, work with the industry. There's only so many of these cars, and scheduling an event on top of someone else, just not the right thing to do. Those folks, they put in just as much effort as we do to promote an event. So that's the reason why we only did the Fast Track portion, because they can be fit anywhere in our weekly events, and it's a little easier when you don't have as many Fast Track crate events around the region. The other thing is that we did call it early. We called it the night before for the King of the Commonwealth, and we try to do that because there's no sense in getting these drivers on the road, spending that diesel fuel money and their time to come somewhere and then just get turned around to go home. It's just not, it's just not the way we do things. We are location challenged. We understand, but we put a lot of effort in this. Now, you want to know how many? This is paid practice for the crate late models. I mean, why wouldn't you come? and we've been averaging 27 pro late models a week just in our weekly events. So we have been blessed this year, and yes, there's a few tracks that have ceased operation in the state of Virginia, so that's helped us with car count. But I'm sure a lot of folks, that $50,000 to win carrot at the end of the year sure helps in getting car counts. And the racing has been phenomenal each and every week. So I expect our guys, our regional guys, our local guys, to actually be very competitive with any of the regional fast track guys that are coming in to kind of see if they can take home steal the 3,000 and take it home with them. So, but that end of the year, who's going to be, the thing is, we've been promoting as, who'll becoming a legend, because this is the largest ever purse for a crate late model division series or anything or race. And it's $2,050 just to start. So we're talking about $170,000 total purse just for the crate late models. This is kind of their dream, their world, if you want to put it in super late model terms. So we're excited about it. We've added the Dirt Cup Challenge UMP Modifieds to both nights. We'll have a $2,000 win race on Friday night for the Modifieds, and a $3,000 win race on Saturday for the Modifieds. And depending on car count, we're going to have some non-qualifier races. The other thing that Bill Sawyer believes in, and making sure everybody gets a chance to race. So not only that, we're going to have a large field. We'll start 28 cars. So we're super excited about it. 50th anniversary. How better to put an exclamation point on the season with the largest race ever for crate late models. And it'll set a record in the state of Virginia as well. It'll be the largest short track purse ever, other than the four NASCAR races we have here.
So Bob Dillner was on earlier. He said he was excited to be there this weekend. I know I'm making the trip out there this weekend. I'm excited to go. So what can we expect?
You're going to expect probably one of the nicest facilities you've ever been to. It's probably brighter during the evening than it is under the sunshine. So you won't have any problems. As we work towards this Thursday night coming up. This Thursday we're going to have an announcement with a partnership with Speed51.com and Virginia Motor Speedway and the Ultimate Super Late Model Series and Fast Track Series. I think it's super exciting. You guys are already scheduled to come back for the $50,000 to win crate race and broadcast that. So we're super excited for the partnership, and you're going to find one of the cleanest facilities, one of the safest facilities you've ever seen. I mean, let's be honest. Bill Sawyer, whose family owned Richmond Raceway, the NASCAR track, has kind of modeled this after Richmond Raceway. I mean, it's just kind of a Richmond Raceway with dirt, although we don't have the dog leg. And it is, it's only a half mile, but still they have built one, him and his nephew, Clark Sawyer, who's our general manager, have built one of the nicest facilities in the country. And I will put it up against any track, for the type of racing we produce and the type of amenities, and everybody's going to feel like family. No matter whether you're a fan, competitor, whether you're an official, you're going to feel like family. And we can't wait to have you guys and show you our brand of racing.
Well, Mr. C, from Bob Dillner and everyone here at Speed 51, we're
By
really...
the way, Mr. C was my dad.
Dave, from everyone here at Speed 51, we're excited to see you this weekend, man. We're going to have a good time. Appreciate you having
Oh,
come on.
absolutely. Looking forward to you guys. If anybody wants any information, just go to our website at vamotorspeedway.com. Ticket pricing, start times, all that will be there. It'll also be on all our social media channels. So if the folks out there want to follow us, it's Virginia Motor Speedway on Facebook, and at VA Motor Speedway on everything else. So just check us out. We really are looking forward to this event. When the King of the Commonwealth got rained out and you only have 2 super late models, man, we're biting at the bit for a super late model race. So we look forward to having you guys and hosting all the fans from wherever they're coming from. Hopefully, by the way, it's no better way to see it than in person. So we hope to see a bunch of you guys there.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Take care. Again, we have a special announcement on this event coming up on Thursday. So everybody listening, just keep your eyes peeled and your ears peaked. And we'll have something about the old event coming up.
I'm looking forward to it. I was really bummed when King of the Commonwealth rained out because I wanted to go up there. I was supposed to get a new track this weekend. Didn't happen. Was actually supposed to get 2 new tracks possibly this weekend. Didn't happen. But in Virginia is going to be a new track for me. So I'm looking forward to it. I think my brother lives about 45 minutes from there, and I think he's coming over to the track probably. So it should be a good time, Virginia.
Cody,
Virginia Motor Speedway.
that was Mark Keeler saying he's excited about going to a dirt track.
See, Bob has painted me as this
dirt
hater.
You are
and
a dirt hater.
That is not the truth. That is the furthest thing from the truth. I am a race fan. There's only one type of racing I don't care for, and that's the Formula One IndyCar. I don't get into that. But when it comes to racing, which dirt or asphalt, it's still stock car racing.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing stock, but still
single
stock
thing.
car racing. I'm a stock car racing fan. So, yes, I am looking forward to Virginia.
Mark Keeler setting the story straight. He is not a hater, folks. He likes all racing except IndyCar and F1.
I love all racing except. We got to keep putting that except in
Well,
there.
you said it, so I'm just paraphrasing. All right, let's go to break.
Yep. Coming up on the other side of the break, we're going to be talking more Milwaukee Mile with Dan Fredrickson on the Hyperco Hotline.
Love it. Let's do it, baby.
Morning Bullring presented by Hyperco.
Hyperco.
Good job, Cody.
So smooth.
It's Kids Bike Race Night at Five Flags Speedway this Friday. Plus the Alan Turner Pro Late Model 100 with the second race on the road to the Snowflake. Then the Sportsman and the Pure Stocks. Kids 11 and under free. See you at the races.
Speed 51's Video Network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The ROC Modified, Saturday, June 15th at Lake Erie Speedway, driven by Pro Waste. Night at the Races, presented by Jim Moss Builders, featuring ROC Modifieds, must-see racing sprints, ROC TQ midgets, and the ROC 4-cylinder dash series, plus fireworks and Twin State Auto Club night. Lake Erie Speedway, June 15th. Don't miss this tremendous event. Visit LakeErieSpeedway.com to purchase tickets.
Welcome back to the morning Bullring. Cody Geyer, it's the Black Mamba Takeover. It's my birthday, man. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for celebrating with me.
Yeah, it's always a fun time being here on the Morning Bullring with Mamba.
Yeah. And then we got Uncle Mark back there. Uncle Mark, say hi.
Yep.
And Tom Ryan. Yep, he's here too. Happy birthday last week. I'm just going to keep. Oh, you hear that? Cody, what's that mean?
First time caller.
Hyperco Hotline is hot right now with Dan Fredrickson. Dan, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, Dynamite. How are you guys?
Oh, it's a great day to be alive. We're just having some fun this morning. We're having some fun. So, Champ, how excited are you about going back to the Milwaukee Mile?
Oh, very. I mean, up here in the Midwest, it's definitely a racetrack that has a ton of history. It's awesome speeds. It's really a flat racetrack. The asphalt's getting wore out. It's super fun and challenging.
So you're actually a former winner at the Milwaukee Mile back in 2004. Take us through that day, and how does it feel to have won at the mile?
Well, I can give you the short version of the real story if you'd like it. It was a similar situation to this coming weekend. There's a full practice day the day before, and then a real short practice on the day of the race. And like normal, my brother and I rolled in late, a day late, and got in line for practice. Got on the racetrack, must have ran something over on pit road. The tire was flat by the time we got on the racetrack, pulled back in, practice was over. So we had no practice, and everybody else had a day and a half. And went out, tied Eddie Hoffman for fast time, started like 12th, drove to the front, won by half a lap. It was pretty awesome.
As simple as that, just like that.
Yeah, so the plan is to do it the same, but it doesn't always go according to plan.
So by plan doing it the same, you mean no practice, just kind of unload off the truck and send it down into turn one, see what you got.
Yeah, we might try to make practice this time, but definitely like to repeat the winning part if possible.
For sure, man. Just talk about what this track means to people in your region. You know, I'm from Vermont and love watching racing around Milwaukee Mile, and we haven't had it for a while. And now, you know, we get these super late miles able to go over there. Like, just talk about what it means to everybody in Wisconsin to have that racetrack fired up again.
In Minnesota here, we used to have the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, and they had the ASA race on Labor Day every year. And that was a big deal. And everybody kind of took it for granted. And then all of a sudden one year, it was gone. And every chance I get, I tell everybody from Wisconsin, hey, you guys got something here that's special. Make sure you keep it, you know. So I don't know how we even got on the schedule to race there this year. Greg McCarnes, I think, worked pretty hard on it. And it was quite a surprise, really, that we're even back there because I don't know for sure when they even had a race last. Do you guys know?
I'm not sure when the last one was.
I gotta say it's been at least 4 years.
I looked it up. It was 2015.
Right. Yep. Correct.
Well, 4 years. Dan's on
Pretty
his
good
stuff.
guess.
Yeah, you got your notes in front of you over there up in Minnesota or what?
No, just a good guess. I sounded smart, but really it was just a good guess.
It's better to be lucky than good a lot of times, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Live by it.
So you're a former ARCA Midwest Tour champion. Just how is it to race against those guys with the ARCA Midwest Tour?
They're good. I mean, we of course, when I started racing in the Midwest Tour, you know, we got to race against Steve Carlson and Nate Hasley, Chris Wimmer, a bunch of guys I really looked up to, you know. And now I'm kind of most of the people in it are younger than me, but pretty clean, you know. You get a couple squirrels here and there, but for the most part, it's a good deal.
You know, a couple squirrels. I love it. That's something Randy LaJoy talks about, racing with squirrels all the time. It's great. I love it. What where else can we see you racing this year? Obviously this is kind of a one-off event, but what's your season got in store for you?
Pretty excited to try and get back to the Slinger Nationals. That's a racetrack that's totally different from any other racetrack in the country, as far as I know. I want to get back there and race. I haven't done super good there. I haven't really done good at all there. So I've only raced there 2 or 3 times. So I'd like to get Slinger Nationals. Snowball Derby, of course. We have, you know, the controlled pit stops this year. That's a pretty hot topic.
Absolutely.
getting rid of the live pit stops. I think that's a big deal. I think that's awesome for people up here. Like I got a lot of friends that are, Southern, they race in the South and they're from the South and they just, they don't understand how hard it is to get a good crew together or even, you know what I mean, to have the whole snowball derby package together to come down to that race. So it's cool that they made that change to go to the controlled pit stops. And we have races up here all the time with those controlled pit stops. And they're almost as exciting, really. The strategy is still there. Some of the drama stuff that comes with pit stop races. So, I mean, it's still going to be an awesome race this year at Snowball Derby. The difference is there's probably going to be 10 of us from, Wisconsin, Minnesota that are going to be there and be competitive now.
So the controlled cautions and the controlled pit stops was actually started by Greg McCarnes up there in the Midwest. But looking forward to this weekend, what can we expect from the Milwaukee Mile?
Well, it'll be a showdown for sure. I mean, I haven't looked at the entry list, but I know Preston Pelletier's coming. I'm sure Bubba will be there. I don't even know who else is going to be there, but it's going to be an awesome show. I mean, anybody from the area, the Midwest area, needs to come to the race because, it's the Milwaukee Mile. I think it's America's longest standing asphalt track, if I'm not mistaken. But, it is a special race. It's a big racetrack. And, we don't know how many times we're going to get to see races there. It's touch and go, really. So it's a must attend, really.
Are you going to try getting there on time this time, or are you going to try the day late thing again?
Man, I should have sent you guys in a picture of my car. All I got left is I got to put the motor in it, all the oil lines, the wiring, the body.
So you're about ready to bring it back to the fab shop, I guess. You're ready to go.
Yeah, it's close. So I had a car that was really a good car, fast car, and a young racer from Wisconsin had an opportunity to buy a car with a guy that wanted to partner with him, and he wanted to really buy my car, and I was like, yeah, no problem. I get the one done by Milwaukee, and here I sit, but it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Here's how it works. I work on my car a little bit here and there, and then we get down to crunch time, and then my dad and my brother, they work together in a business, and they'll both feel bad for me. My dad will give my brother like 4 or 5 days off. He'll go hay farming for 4 days. My brother will come here for 4 days with no sleep, and we'll be at the racetrack.
The glamorous life of short track racing, huh?
It's no different than it was the very first year. Just we know how far behind we are now instead of, just thinking we're having fun.
Did you say hay farming?
Yeah, hay farming. It's a great day for hay boys.
It's a great day for hay boys. So do you help with that, or do you just, hang around the shop and then, wait to need help and then call in dad and brother for help?
Well, my dad does all the hay farming now. I was into it, but I sold it all so I could focus more on racing, so we didn't get so far behind the week before the race.
How's that worked out?
I was thinking the same thing.
That's awesome. That's great. Oh, man. Dan, we appreciate you coming on, man, and really excited about the race. I really hope that, like you said, a bunch of people from your area make it out to the Milwaukee Mile here this week.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Hoping to run good. It was funny, the last time we were there when we won, let me tell you. So I get down in Victory Lane, and it was my brother and I were the only two there, and I don't know where he was. I didn't even know where Victory Lane was. I didn't really get a chance to look around when we got there, So they're shooing me in there, and I get there, and they have this huge champagne bottle, and I got nobody to spray. So they go, okay, spray the crew. And I'm like, okay, nobody's here for that. So I sprayed the tech guy, Lumpy, who, rest in peace. We lost him 2 years ago, but so I look right at him, and he's looking at me with this dirty old look, like he just hated me at the time, you know. And I just blast him right in the face. And then I turn around to the guy that got second, and I'm going to spray him. It was Eric Francis. He goes, "Don't spray me. I got to drive the Slinger and race still." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Man, can you imagine? Can you imagine getting pulled over, and
Yeah.
you know, just reeking of it, and you didn't even win nothing?
Right. No, officer, I swear to God. The guy just sprayed me with champagne. I wasn't drinking. Right.
That's great. Dan, it sounds like you've got a firm grasp on what this whole short track racing thing is all about and how to enjoy it and enjoy life. And, man, we can't thank you enough for coming on here, and we are so looking forward to seeing what you're able to do this weekend at Milwaukee.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Dan. It's a great day for hay, buddy.
Hell yeah, that's right.
Dan Fredrickson going out to the Milwaukee Mile. Man, I love that guy.
He
I
might be my favorite guest ever, I think. That was awesome.
He was. I met him down at New Smyrna this year. He ran during Speed Weeks during the World Series of Asphalt Racing. See, I didn't do
It's
it like
World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing.
stock car racing.
I think that needs to become our new line here on the Morning Bullring.
Which one? Oh,
It's a great day for hay.
it's a great
It's a
day
great
for hay.
day for hay. That's awesome.
That's great.
I loved his very first answer, the way he started off the interview when you said, "How excited are you for Wisconsin?" And he just said, "Oh, very."
Oh
That was-
yeah, it's gonna be great. Oh, is it? 'Cause
but seriously, I think out of everybody that we get to talk to all the time, every weekend at a different track here and there, I don't know that I've talked to anybody that has a firmer grasp on what this is all about, which is just having fun. And Mamba, I think you've actually said it before. Until you're up in the upper three, this is just a hobby. No, it's not a profession for anybody. It's just a hobby. And he just, I think I became a Dan Fredrickson fan. That was pretty cool.
yeah, he definitely made me a fan. And I did say before, like, until you're in the top three, like, yeah, some guys can kind of do it as a living, and more so in dirt racing than asphalt racing. But it's really just a hobby and something that we all love and we all enjoy, and we need to remember that and take the good with the bad, because it's racing, and we all know there's going to be more bad as far as on-track performance than good, but it's all part of the deal. And Dan definitely, I mean, just him and his brother and just throwing this car together, like, that's pretty much how I go to the racetrack right now these days. It's like me and one other guy, and like, hopefully we find some help when we get to the racetrack.
And
So,
put stickers of Bubba Wallace on the side of your car when you get there.
I'm
That
gonna
was the highlight, by the way, of my snowball derby.
if
week.
I go to Jukasa, I'm putting a picture of Bob Dillner's face on the car.
There you go. Do you want the picture that Tom had of him at the beach?
No, we can find a better one.
I don't know about that, but
We'll find something. We'll get something.
oh well.
You know.
Hey, it's time to. I think it's time to take a quick break, and then we're gonna play the name game when we come back. With Brian Campbell or Campbell.
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 See you later. Back on the Morning Bull Ring, presented to you by Hypergo.
Campbell.
Campbell.
Berlin Raceway has seen the biggest stars race on its banks throughout the 69-year history. Names like Gordon, Seneca, Benson, Wallace, Bush, and so many others. Bubba Pollard and Brian Campbell have conquered Berlin's newest annual tradition, Money in the Bank. It comes just once a year, with the nation's best super late model stars ascending on the historic Marne, Michigan Oval, featuring the Jegs CRA Super Series and main event Outlaw late models. This Monday, don't miss the third iteration, Money in the Bank, presented by Primera Plastics. Who will capture the $20,000 winner's paycheck? Find out Monday, June 10th, with a green flag at 6:30. For more track and event information, visit BerlinRaceway.com or call 616-677-5000. Berlin Raceway, where speed belongs. It's dirt slinging, hard pounding, edge of your seat action. It's the 43rd annual USA 100 at Virginia Motor Speedway, Saturday, June 15th. Don't miss the 900 horsepower monsters of dirt and a night of high octane, ground pounding excitement featuring the ultimate Super Late Model Series in a $20,000 to win battle. 8 to 1 to 4 p.m. on track action at 6. For info, call 804-758-1867 or go online at vamotorspeedway.com. Saturday, June 15th, Virginia Motor Speedway. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
And welcome back to the morning Bullring, 9:01 in the morning here at Studio 51 in Concord. And before we go too much further, we gotta once again give a big shout out to Hyperco for jumping on and sponsoring the morning Bullring. The morning Bullring presented by Hyperco. We can't thank those guys enough for helping to support us, and they do a lot for short track racing, and of course that's our passion and what we love. So big thanks going out to Hyperco for jumping on board and helping sponsor the Bullring.
Yeah, they sponsor the Bullring and they sponsor the Hypercoil Hotline, so they come in twice, 2-time sponsor. We appreciate
Speaking
you.
of the Hypercoil Hotline,
What's that noise mean?
that means we've got a first-time caller.
Ooh, first-time caller,
Name game.
Mr. Brian. Is it Campbell or Campbell? Can you help us with this, Brian? What's the deal here?
It's Campbell.
Campbell.
Yep.
So I hear that Dillner, our boss, says there's no Campbell soup, and he says Campbell. So I'm just trying to make it right because, Dave Moody, he's like my guy from Vermont, and we had some Campbells racing around Thunder Road. So I just want to make sure I get it right, my friend.
Yeah, you're saying it right. That's right.
Heck yeah, man. Well, how excited are you about going to possibly defend and repeat at the big money?
Pretty excited. We're sitting down in the pits, just got in right now, so getting ready to get it going.
Yeah, we got a picture up, actually a highlight of your car. That thing looks clean, my friend. It's a good-looking race car.
Yeah, we try to keep it as best looking as possible. After the races get a little dingy, but we try our hardest to keep it good looking for our sponsors and everybody affiliated with us.
So last year in the Money in the Bank, you beat Bubba Pollard, Kyle Busch, and the two of the best in the business to pick up the $20,000. Just how great was it to beat two of the best and to do it in front of the home crowd?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I had all my work friends up in the stands, and I had family there. And to do it in the way that we did it, it's it's pretty cool. It's pretty special. I guess I'd rather win leading all the laps, but to lead 4 of the last ones, it's just fine.
This is becoming a marquee event, especially for the area. What's it mean to you that, your home track is starting to get so much notoriety in this event?
Well, Berlin's, there's if you ever come to this place, you'll understand that there's not a lot of places that put on a show quite like Berlin, and quite how upkept the place is for being so old, how well they do things here. So it's not a surprise to me that they're actually, putting on, 2 $40,000 events for the year. It's just what Bursley and the people here at Berlin are doing. It's a good thing.
You talk about the track and the upkeep, and I got to ask you from there, like, how do they go from dirt to asphalt and just keep the track looking so great? I was able to go last year with the ARCA series and be at the racetrack, and it is great. I can't believe with all the switching back and forth that they're able to keep up.
Yeah, they do it. It's there's a handful of. I used to say, like my soon-to-be wife, years ago, I said once you get out of Berlin, it really starts going downhill, as far as racetracks around. And it's true. There's a handful of these racetracks around the country, and you got the one up in Canada that kind of resemble the upkeep here, but there's not a lot of places that do it like that, dirt to asphalt, and be able to keep it up. And it's just the way they do it here, and they like it clean, they like it nice, and that's the ability to bring these marquee events.
So, like we've said, it's your home track, but I mean, you've basically gone undefeated in CRA events there over the last couple of years. What about Berlin just makes you so good there?
I don't know, just probably growing up here. Yeah, just spending how many laps here doing it wrong, and then finally, figuring it all out. And then, getting your car set up just exactly how you want it. I got to believe it's probably that. Attested to that is how many years I did it wrong, and now it's, try to do a little bit better, I guess.
So we're gonna be streaming this event live on the Speed 51 Network
Pay-per-view.
It's gonna be pretty awesome. How important do you think, being able for your sponsors and just for the people that that might not be able to make the racetrack? How much of an added bonus is that you can, be, hey guys, it's gonna be on pay-per-view. You can check it out for $20. And how important to that is short track racing, you think?
Oh, it's huge. I've told a lot of people during the weeks they have it here. They have a stream here, and then this race will have a stream. And I keep telling everybody that if you can't make it, watch it here, watch it on Speed 51. It keeps short track racing in the forefront of their minds, and that's what we need to be able to keep short track racing going for the future. You need fans, young fans, old fans, everybody to enjoy it and in a way that's special to them. If they can't make it, then they watch it, on TV, and it's just a way to keep it going.
Well, speaking of the fans up there, one of the things that impressed me, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. I was there for Money in the Bank, and I mean, here's a race on a Monday, and they're packing them into the grandstands there, and it seems like that whole area has really embraced the Berlin Raceway and supporting what they're trying to put together there and what they're trying to do, especially with a race like this, a single-day show. So how big is that, I mean, in the community and in that general area, since you're from there, how important and how big of a role does Berlin Raceway play in that community?
Pretty big. These fans here, the people that come here week in and week out, they're pretty intelligent. They know good racing when they see it. They're accustomed to the Bensons, Howes, Mike Eddy's. They're accustomed to ASA coming here for years and years. They're accustomed to super modified racing here that comes year after year, ARCA racing. So they get to see a variety. So they're very intelligent, and they know what's good and what's not. And when a show like this comes and everybody comes to go race it, that's what they want to see, good hard racing.
Well, we got a strong entry list with 30 cars that are scheduled to be there tonight, but both 75-lap super late model shows that have been ran there so far have been won by Boris Yurkovic in pretty dominating fashion. What's it going to take to beat him and everybody else tonight?
It'll take a pretty good car. Boris has been tough. He's been good. He's hooked up with the right people, and he's been tough. And surprisingly, I never really thought that he was going to be that dominant here, as of last year. But like I said, he got hooked up with the right people, and he did good. And they got a bunch of cars coming just like it. So this race is going to be quite a bit tougher than last year. Everybody last year got one crack at it, and now they get to come back for their second time. And typically you get people here 2 and 3 times. They get this place figured out.
Well, speaking of getting a couple of cracks at it, last year to win this race, it was, if I remember correctly, it was a couple of late race restarts that actually kind of set up the stage. And you're at your home track, but you got Bubba Pollard, who at the time was arguably the at the top of his game as far as super late models at the time, and then you got Kyle Busch there. What goes through your mind? I mean, how good you are, but then you've got these two guys around you at your home track coming down to win a big race like that.
Yeah, I guess really just trying to do it right. You're not trying to do it wrong, take people out, hit people. You want to do it clean and do the best you can, and because they're going to give you the best. And I guess I like to think that you race them how they race you, and they race me pretty doggone clean. So, and it was going to be a hell of a finish. I know that. It's going to be good.
Well, we're actually looking at the highlights of last year's race from the Speed 51 Network, and you spun out late in that race after the caution came out. I think it was for Peltier. I'm not sure who, but so you're battling up there for the lead, and then all of a sudden, here you are spinning out. What goes through your head at that point in time?
Well, I wanted to make sure my tires were not lock them completely down and keep them rolling. But then just to make sure that the tires were going to be able to come back. Pretty nervous about that. So it wasn't exactly on my high priority list to go spinning out, acting a fool there. But sometimes things happen and has to adapt to it.
Before we let you go here, the driver, I just want to know personally for you how important and how special it was to win this marquee event. Just with your family and everybody there. Just what was that feeling like?
It's home, so winning here is huge, and everybody's here is everybody, the whole fans are rooting you on. I don't really care what they say. They're still rooting you on against some out of town guys. So you had your family, you had the sponsors, plus you had dang near the whole crowd after you. So it was definitely better, or I guess more I don't know what the right way to say it. It's popular, I guess, to win at home because you got 5,000 people all cheering you on doing it.
That's awesome. Well, Brian Campbell, thank you
Yep.
for coming. Thank you for coming on the Morning Bullring with us. And good luck tonight. We'll be watching from the Speed 51 pay-per-view that everyone can watch from later on tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, take care, my friend.
Yep.
So, Brian Campbell, I picked him. Yeah, I picked him and Mark
I picked him too.
We both
Yeah.
picked him to win.
He's a super nice guy. One of my favorite Brian Campbell stories was my first year at the Snowball Derby, and I never realized just how big the paint schemes were.
How'd your voice get so dark or deep all of a sudden?
I don't know.
All right, sorry, go on.
Wow, way to sidetrack me. But anyways, my first time at the Derby, I think it was 2012. Speed 51 brought me up there. I'd never worked with them before, but I never realized, I knew it was a big race, but the custom paint jobs, and he came down with a car that was how the Grinch stole the Snowball Derby, and it had the Grinch on the side with the Tom Dawson trophy and everything. And, well, they wrecked that car. I think it was in practice on that, Friday. And they called the company that did the wrap and had another whole side of graphics sent down so that they could put it back on the car once they got it fixed. But it was one of the coolest things I've ever, because I had never, I can't think other than, in October when people put the pink on for breast cancer awareness, I couldn't remember at a short track seeing a special paint scheme, for one race especially. So that was one of my earliest memories and exposures, I should say, to Brian Campbell. So it was pretty cool. I'm
a big firm believer in special paint schemes. I'm a special paint scheme guy. When they used to do the Looney Tunes stuff at Richmond, and seeing it in short track racing is pretty cool.
And then with the throwback races, both with NASCAR at Darlington during the Southern 500 and with the Cars Tour with the throwback 276, it's really cool to see those throwback schemes.
And at Salem in the fall. That's for right. the ARCA Salem, they do throwbacks too. So. Whoa, I think I just cut myself off right there.
You just muted yourself.
Right mid-sentence, I just hit the button like I was done or something.
Is that $1?
Yeah, is that $1? What was that? It should be maybe a chicken biscuit later on. I could go for one of those.
Yeah, me too.
What'd you get, by the way?
I just grabbed the sausage biscuit combo.
You need to get that chicken fillet, not Chick-fil-A, the Cajun filet biscuit combo.
I may just have to go for that next time.
Yeah, get some egg and bacon on it. It tastes good.
Hey, let's go back to the Hyperco hotline.
Yeah, right.
You don't even know who we have, do you? We're throwing a surprise in there. He wasn't even on the guest list, but he's always willing to come on and talk. And that's Stan Harrison from Montgomery Motor Speedway, getting ready for a big weekend. Unfortunately, you've already done this once before, last week. But good morning, Stan. How you doing?
Well, we tried anyways. Yeah, I'm doing great this morning. Thanks. I appreciate you allowing me to call in on the special green phone. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're looking forward to this. It's a double header this weekend with the Pro Late Models racing at Pensacola Friday night and then racing here at Montgomery Saturday night. We decided to just postpone it. It's the best thing to do. Kept all of our folks off the road, with a bad weather weekend, and it's looking great for this weekend. And, just as you guys pointed out, when we did do our postponement, we went ahead and increased the bonus for the highest finishing car between the two races. Now, between Insinger Performance and Five Flags in Montgomery, that bonus is $1,000.
That's pretty incredible. Just especially for pro late model racing. I mean, all you have to do is be the best finisher from the two nights. The tracks are only 2 hours apart, roughly. But how important is it? We see you stand all throughout the South, whether it's running around with the Southern Super Series or just helping to support the tracks and keep communication open. And working with other tracks and other people. So how important is it when you got a guy like Tim Bryan at Five Flags and yourself that you guys work together? Obviously, Tim's promoting Five Flags, you're promoting Montgomery, but to put something together for the racers so that in the end the fans and the racers are the ones who benefit. How big is that relationship there?
I think it's one of the most important things that we as promoters need to have in this business. Too many times, and look, we all have to look out for our own businesses. There's no question about that. But you try not to do it at the expense of another promoter or another situation. Communication is the key. And, we, even when we decided to move this to this weekend, we pulled out the giant matrix and looked at where everyone was racing and making sure that we didn't put someone in a position that they had to make the decision to race somewhere else with us. So, there's a lot that goes into that. Sometimes it makes it tough. We made our call because we wanted to do it with Five Flags. We made our call pretty early. But the forecast was so bad that, we already had people who were canceling their plans to come here. So, I think it's one of the most important things we can do. We all need to get together and work on our rules package. We need to start, do like we've done with the supers and the pros and make it to where you can go anywhere in the South to do that. We need to try to do that with some of our other divisions. And, as long as Tim and I work together really closely with Ben Sumner over at Cordial, just try to keep open communications. Now that Jason's over at Mobile, we're trying to work with him there. We've always got Nashville in the mix. So, the way I look at it, we can make short track race strong for everyone. It's going to benefit all of them.
Yeah, you kind of just took my question, right? That gave me the answer without me even having to ask the question. Is just kind of elaborating maybe moving forward for short track racing and what we need. And we always draw comparisons to dirt racing, to asphalt racing, just kind of what we're doing moving forward. What are some things that you think we need to head towards and work on, whether it be, practice, whether that be less practice, or if it's, tracks working together more or more touring events or more big events? What's kind of your thoughts on moving forward and where we're going with short track racing?
Well, I think that we've got to pay special attention to our upper divisions like we've done over the last couple of years. But I think the real big part of it is kind of our grassroots racers. We need to be sure that we've got some type of a system for these guys to work their way in and work their way up. And a lot of the tracks, have gotten away from some of their lower divisions. At the big tracks, we're always worried about that. But I think if we can work on a common set of rules, try not to get a lot of different tires in the situation. We end up where a guy has to, just go run a track at another racetrack. He may have to, completely change over his setup, his tire deal. But I think if we can keep communications open between promoters, continue some of the stuff that we have with Short Track Alliance, where we're getting communication from our racers, and just try to make it good for all of them. I think it's really important that the racers get involved in what we're doing. They've got to be a part of the racetrack success and helping to promote it. If anything, I think that's what we need to be doing moving forward, is we all need to embrace the sport that we love and, do what we can to get butts and seats cars on the track.
So going to this weekend, last week's race got postponed, and it hasn't been a Show Me the Money race since end of March, early April. So how excited are you to get back on track with the Show Me the Money series?
Man, my wife told me the other day that she's probably going to end up leaving me if we don't start racing. I am just so excited to get the pros back on the track. There's some cars that haven't raced this year because of the weather and because of some situations. I'm excited to see those guys get back out here. We've seen some interesting couple of, of different winners here, although, Augie Grill's always strong here at Montgomery. He got one of them, and Colby Howard really showed his stuff at the first race. So it's going to be interesting to see this weekend. There's some pretty good players coming in for this one. And, I think there's going to be some folks that might have some hurt feelings because, I know there's a couple of guys I've seen around the Southeast that are pretty darn fast that would love to bring home, 2 wins and an extra $1,000 bonus.
Well, we're actually watching highlights from June 16th of 2018 right now. You talked about some heavy hitters. Who are some marquee guys that you can kind of keynote on that'll be here and running for this event?
Well, and this is something I'd like to throw this out to racers. You need to be communicating with your racetracks where you're going each week. And, even if it's there's a 75% chance, but, the usuals will show up. You've got obviously Casey Roderick will be here. Augie Grill will be here. Justin Siles, the people that are really strong here. I talked to Michael House last week. He's still planning to do the doubleheader. We got, some folks coming down from Nashville. Should be some good contenders there. And I think there might be a surprise or two that probably won't make an announcement till towards the end of the week, but we'll be sure to let Speed 51 know so we can get it out there.
Definitely let us know. And just everyone, guys listening, drivers and teams listening, and it's important to, like you just said, tell your racing body, your sanctioning body, hey, we're coming, so we can promote and cross promote and get the event as big as possible, because we all need to work together to make each event as perfect as we can get there. So
yeah, absolutely. I want to say something just real quick about the event this weekend. I just got to talk to Tim, and his pits will open Friday at 2:00. Now Saturday, for some of the guys, they may want to get to my racetrack a little bit early, and we're going to have the gates open early. We won't open until 1:00, but we'll be parking rigs early if folks need to get here and do a little bit of work on their car in order to get ready to run here at Montgomery. So just a side note to everybody out there.
Well, it's Stan Harrison on the Hyperco hotline. Thank you for calling in this morning on late notice.
It's no problem. Anytime. We're just sitting here getting ready to race.
Hey, Stan, you better get those race cars on that track. You got to keep her there, and if she wants racing, you better give it to her.
That's right. Well, thanks, guys, and we appreciate all the coverage from Speed 51. Looking forward to it for this weekend, and if you get a chance, come on out to the track. It's going to be some good racing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
All right. So show me the money.
Well, that was a lackluster. All right.
Well, all right. No, we're here. We're just here. We're just enjoying rolling
I'll tell
into
you what,
the last part of our morning here.
Stan, we talk. It's funny because a lot of times people say somebody like a Tim Bryan at Five Flags is the hardest working man in short track racing because you'll see him plunging toilets, driving the tow truck. He'll wave flags in the flag stand. He's signing the checks. He's doing all that. Stan is equally as hardworking. And one of my favorite stories from, I think it was early last year, is Nicholas Rogers was his race director, and Stan's one of favorite things to do is to grab the T-shirt cannon and go running up and down the grandstands if they have a long caution or a red or whatever. And Nicholas, I happened to be monitoring the race control radio because I was running camera, and Nicholas was looking down at something. All of a sudden, something in the corner of his eye just comes flying by the tower, and he freaks out and jumps on the radio. It's like, what was that? What was that? And he screamed. And next thing I know, I hear him say, hey, Stan, next time you're going to be shooting T-shirts, might want to let your race director know. He thought something flew off a car or something out of the track. It was absolutely hilarious. But Stan is a fun guy. I've seen him, and you like this one. I've seen him before drivers meeting last year. It was one of the hottest days of the summer at Montgomery. He brought watermelon for all the drivers in the drivers meeting. He's a crazy guy. You never know what he's going to say or do next, but he's good for short track racing, and we definitely need more people like the Stan Harrisons, the Tim Bryants, and that, because it sounds like he gets it. He wants to promote his drivers. He wants to help promote his racers, and that's one thing dirt has that asphalt doesn't, is they've made heroes and celebrities out of these drivers. drivers, and so far asphalt hasn't embraced that enough at all. I mean, you go to a dirt track, you got the midway with the T-shirts and all that stuff. What do you got at an asphalt track? You know, the drivers might sell T-shirts out of their trailers, but you know, and even those are few and far between.
And Cody, I think it's important for us to keep working on, like, the dirt guys. They do a lot of things right. And I think it's important for us to take notice of what they do right and integrate that on the asphalt side of things.
I mean, going off what Mark said with the merch sales, I mean, I went to a couple of USAC events this year for Speed 51, and you see drivers, I mean, yeah, like the big names like Tyler Courtney, Kevin Thomas Jr., they'd all have like merch trailers, merch tents in the midway where anybody can just go up and buy a shirt. And I think we should see more of that in asphalt racing.
All you got to do is look in the grandstands.
Yeah.
I mean, how many fans in the grandstands at a dirt track? Wrong button. How many? My camera's not queued up right now. But anyways,
I can do
how
buttons
many,
too.
I think that's $1 in the jar.
Yeah,
At least
it's probably
2.
5 for me. But
Yeah.
but how many
enough for a
fans?
biscuit.
How many fans in the grandstands at an asphalt track are wearing a racing T-shirt? And if they are, is it a short track driver?
Yeah, it's probably
Short of a driver's family, you go to a dirt track. And I'd say
you don't go to a dirt track without wearing someone's gear.
Right. I'd say 80% of the people there have somebody's shirt on.
Right.
And T-shirts are great for marketing because, I mean, you've been in the store before, standing in line at a fast food joint, and you see somebody with a race car on their T-shirt.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Right. It's like back in the day, they used to say that open trailers were a racetrack's best form of advertisement. Because everybody's going to see a race car riding
where's
down.
that going?
Yep.
And then you try to figure it out. And a lot of times people end up going that night.
And nowadays it's T-shirts. So I definitely think there's a few of them that are starting to do it a little more. But this goes back, it's not even a recent problem. This goes back 10 or 15 years. Drivers have to market themselves. That's all there is to it. And we have to have heroes and villains. Look at last night with Deegan and Kraus. You have to have a hero and a villain. Depending on which side of the fence you're on, it depends on who plays that role of the hero and the villain. But, Earnhardt fans loved the, quote, pass in the grass. Elliott fans hated it. And, everybody's got a point of view. So
we need it. And I think it's important for our sport too, is like we need that rivalry. We need those people button heads, but that doesn't mean they actually hate each other. Right. But so we need to make sure that, especially the younger generation, like you can have an on-track battle, but that doesn't mean it needs to be an off-track battle too, if that makes any sense.
I mean, in the 80s, my grandpa used to tell me this story because he used to race at Berlin and other tracks in northern Indiana, southern Michigan. But Bob Seneca and Mike Eddy had a big rivalry at Berlin before their ASA days, and their fans were diehard either Bob Seneca or Mike Eddy. So, I mean, it brought people to the track and put butts in seats, and
that's what we need, man.
I'll take it back with me growing up. I was a Bill Elliott fan. My brother was a Darrell Waltrip
How
fan.
long ago was that?
Way too long. Well, back in late 80s. So I was at Daytona when he won in 85 and in 87, and I remember his championship in 88, and my brother was a Darrell Waltrip fan. And when it came to racing, there was no love lost between us. We were 3 years apart in age, and on Sundays we couldn't stand each other because I was cheering for one, he was cheering for the other. But at the end of the day, it meant we were all tuning in to watch it.
Right.
So
together.
Tom's good. Oh, he's doing Connor Sullivan plugs on his phone. Are these edited?
Yes.
You sure?
Positive.
Yep, exactly.
There we go. We got Condog on the morning bull
Condog,
ring.
welcome to the morning bull ring. I know you're listening. Where is he? He lives in Connecticut.
Exactly.
He lives in Connecticut, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's a wannabe. Well, he was a wannabe New Yorker. Most of them.
We're
going to take a break.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break. We're coming back.
We're going to get the West Man on the phone.
The West Man, White Chocolate, Wesley Outland will be on the morning bull ring, presented by Hypercar. See you in a minute.
It's Kids Bike Race Night at Five Flags Speedway this Friday. plus the Alan Turner Pro Late Model 100 with the second race on the road to the Snowflake. Then the Sportsman and the Pure Stocks. Kids 11 and under free. See you at the races.
Speed 51's Video Network, where the battles are legendary. Get the full picture on short track racing. We will take you behind the scenes.
He's just a meathead.
Your track, your driver, your sport, your passion. Dirt, late models, modifieds, and more. Race highlights, recaps, interviews, historic races, and thousands of on-demand videos. The Speed 51 Network, short track racers' home for the greatest video coverage.
The ROC Modified, Saturday, June 15th at Lake Erie Speedway, driven by Pro Ways. Night at the Races, presented by Jim Moss Builders, featuring ROC Modifieds, must-see racing sprints, ROC TQ midgets, and the ROC 4-cylinder dash series, plus fireworks and Twin State Auto Club night. Lake Erie Speedway, June 15th. Don't miss this tremendous event. Visit LakeErieSpeedway.com to purchase tickets.
Go ahead, Bumba.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for my cue. You've been queuing me up. Welcome back to the Morning Bullring. This is the Black Mamba Takeover. It's my birthday, as always.
We're in overtime.
We're in overtime. I like overtime. No time like overtime. That's what I always say. Right, Cody?
Overtime.
Now we got all four. Everybody's on the mic. Everyone's got a mic. You get a mic.
Yeah.
You get a mic.
Stop.
And that's probably the best introduction. Can we get that again real quick?
Wait.
Wait, hang on. We're going to cue it up. Here's the introduction for our next guy.
He's on. He can hear us.
A man who needs no introduction.
Westman.
Westman. How are you, brother?
First off, I've got two things to say.
Oh, my goodness.
You remind me of that little kid from that movie, The Sandlot, with the glasses. I can't think of his name. Squints? He looks like Squints on the TV set. Yes. And also, happy birthday to my buddy Black Mamba.
Hey,
happy
big
birthday.
dog. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Yeah, you're about to get us off
you.
Facebook.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we
You're
can't
going to
be
get us
singing all the way.
sued. But I did want to
But you
record
know
that
what,
soundbite.
But you know what? There's nothing like, some people wake up and they have sausage and eggs and, orange juice like Zach. My breakfast of champions in Michigan, and I'm not in Saginaw, by the way. I'm in Marne, Michigan. It's chocolate chip cookies and Coke. That's my breakfast.
You got to go Faygo. It's a Michigan tradition. You got to go Faygo.
Hey,
what is Faygo? What is that?
That's the from the ICP gang. They drink that soda. It's a Michigan thing. They sell it everywhere, but it's a Michigan soda. But hey, I heard you were snoring quite a bit this morning.
Man, I must have been really, really tired. That flight, yeah, I must be suffering from jet lag, and it's in my sleep. You hear Zach in the background laughing at me, But he doesn't realize he makes sound effects in his sleep also, but we're not going to say what they are.
Brandon Paul is telling us you just woke up like 30 minutes ago and you haven't even showered yet.
Yeah, have you showered?
No, I actually took a shower. Took a shower yesterday, last night. I
was wondering what that smell
every
was.
day, son. Every day.
Yeah. But man, I'm ready to go. Hopefully this weather will clear up, dude. Man, I can't understand it, guys. I leave North Carolina on a plane. It's raining. I come to Michigan. It's raining.
What's the lowest common denominator there? You.
What do you mean? So it's my fault. Well, I'm beginning to believe what Zach said about me. Maybe I need to hang up the towel and resign. What do you think? Retire.
Retire or resign?
Well, at least
those are two different things.
At least you'll go out with a bang with the money in the bank today at Berlin.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to that race, dude. I was talking to Andrew Hain on Facebook yesterday and just working on my notes and things for preparing to do stuff for Speed 51 and it's some heavy hitters, man. Big names are coming for this race, and 20,000 to win. And I know we're going up against the Cup race now at Michigan because of the weather, but I still think it's hashtag more short tracks. I think it's going to be a big, big following. It's going to be a big, big race here today.
Honestly,
on Speed 51, by the way, tonight on pay-per-view.
Honestly, I don't think we're gonna have to fight the Cup race that much. I think that this race is drawn in enough, and people really want to see short track racing. Honestly, more than they want to see cars going around at the big track at Michigan, and I'm excited that we're providing it for everybody, and I'm stoked to see what Wesley Outland is going to do for us up in
Absolutely.
Berlin.
What a great save you did, Mamba. That is why you are the Black Mamba. You're the man. What a save. You've saved me. Yes. Nobody's worried about Michigan. They're worried about Warren and Berlin. And it's going to be a great, great event. And I'll tell you what, me and Zach were talking about this last night. Okay, yes, been there, done that, seen the CRA Super Series, great bunch of guys, RJ Scott, Glenn Luckett, great people. Looking forward to the Super Late Model race. But I'm telling you, though, dude, I'm looking forward to that main event Outlaw Late Model Stock Series, dude. I'm looking forward to just seeing those cars. Because I've seen them on the internet before, but I've never witnessed them in person. I think those cars are going to be really, really cool to see racing tonight.
Yeah, especially, I mean, growing up in outlaw super late model country, they really do put on a show, especially at
You don't see them down south. You don't see them down there.
I mean, especially at Berlin. I mean, it's the home of the outlaw super late models, really. So, that being said, just elaborate on, it's the first time they'll be there this year, so how excited are you?
Man, this is my first time ever being at Berlin Raceway, and I've heard so many great things about the 69-year history of this awesome facility, and to be a part of the Money in the Bank presented by Primera Plastics, I think is going to be a stoked event. There's an awesome contingent of names that are going to be a part of this deal for the CRA Super Series or the ARCA CRA Super Series, and then of course you add in the main event Outlaw Stocks. They're going to put on a great, great show. And like I said, we're just going to wait for this weather to clear up. According to the weather, what I watched last night before I fell asleep, it was raining pretty hard this morning, but it looked like everything was going to clear out of the way by this afternoon. And I'm sure they got all the track drying equipment and everything they need to be ready to go for tonight. And man, we're looking forward to it. We'll be over there in a few hours and start working on stuff and hashtag more short tracks, hashtag Speed 51, and all the cool stuff we got going on social media. And Zach and I are looking forward to this event. So, it was hopefully we didn't fly all the way up here for nothing. We're going to see a race one way or the other.
Well, I tell you what, Wesley, you kind of went away from the asphalt world although you're up there in Michigan, so I should say asphalt. Close enough to Canada.
Shout out to Kendra.
Yeah, but you've been kind of playing in the sandbox, so to speak, with the dirt world for quite a while now, and now this year you're really coming back to the asphalt side. What's your your biggest impression so far of the asphalt late model world? You've gotten to see some of the biggest events, being at Bristol and now going to the Money in the Bank. So what are your feelings on that?
I've been corrupted by the Speed 51 mafia. It's y'all's fault.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Listen, I just know you've gotten cooler since we met. So
I think it's awesome. I think it's really, really cool. And I will say this, being a fan, I'm a fan of all racing. I can't stand these people that get on the monopolies that are like, well, I like dirt racing. Well, I like asphalt racing. Well, I like drag racing. I like all racing. I'm a fan of all racing. I've announced all racing in my 23-year career. And to have the privilege of announcing at Bristol and doing what I'm going to be doing with MAV TV and have been doing, and it's all thanks to Bob Dillner and just hooking up with you guys for that street stock race at Dillon. And honestly, guys, I'm just so blessed. I have to say that I never take God for granted in anything that I ever do. Yesterday in the air, 40,000 feet above the air, and I'm looking at the earth and I'm looking at, scared to death on the plane because I haven't rode a plane in a while. And, I'm thinking to myself, oh, man, me and Zach would look at each other at the airport, and I said, have you rode a plane? He said, yeah, it's been a long time ago. I said, yeah, it's been a long time ago, too. I can't even remember, But to be 40,000 feet above the air, and I guess it was raining down below Earth, but you see how clear and beautiful it was in the heavens and the clouds and the blue. And I was just thinking to myself, man, God blesses us in everything that we do. And there's a purpose and there's a reason why I'm in this air right now and I'm doing what I'm doing. And I love asphalt racing and I love the Speed 51 family and I love what you guys are doing. I have such a respect for what y'all do all the time. Definitely.
Hey, Wesley.
Yes.
You talked about how blessed you are. Now bless us with the answer to my question.
Don't cry.
That was the longest non-answer to a question I've ever heard. So coming from from being
I would
in the
say Bristol was cool, but I'm looking forward to Barn, to Michigan.
But okay, we've been talking all morning, and I don't know if you've been up and watching the show, but
No, I just woke up about 10 minutes ago.
yeah, kind of figured. But you had to get all that snoring out of your system. But no,
Yes, I
seriously
did.
though,
Yes, I did.
we've kind of chimed in a little bit on the differences between dirt racing and asphalt racing, and where asphalt maybe needs to take some steps forward in driver promotion, promoting themselves really, and just the atmosphere at the racetracks and the different things. What as somebody who spent quite a bit of time on the dirt side, and now you're still obviously heavily involved with the ultimate and the fast track and all that.
Yes.
But what is your opinion on where you think asphalt racing maybe needs to shift to get a little bit more of that excitement back at the racetrack on a weekly basis?
Mark, I think that there could be takeaways on both sides of the fences. I feel like there's things that asphalt racing could do that what dirt track racing is doing, and vice versa. For instance, the Dream this past weekend in Eldora, the place was packed. It was standing room only, 3 great days of racing. Thank goodness the weather worked in their favor, because I've been down to Eldora before where the weather's not been good. The format, to me, and I will tell you something, this is something that me and DJ, and we've talked about it. We're always having ideas for what to do for Fast Track or Ultimate to make the show exciting, because you have to make the race exciting for the fans. It just can't be a snooze fest. And that's what I talk with a lot of people about the asphalt world. A lot of people think, well, man, oh my goodness, they're running too many laps, so that's too long. Oh, it's too drug out. There's no good racing. But in the dirt world, it's the opposite. They're running less laps, but the racing is more exciting. So, I have to give props to Bristol and for what the series and sanctioning bodies did for the short track U.S. Nationals that I was the play-by-play announcer for Speed 51. That was a great event. It was a prolonged event, long time, long coverage. Props to everybody, from the cameramen to the spotters to the rabbits to the people, making sure that, we had radios. Everybody did a phenomenal job, and people in the background producing and doing what you and Brandon did, Mark. Dylan, great job on pit road. But bottom line,
thank you very much.
You're very welcome, my friend. For your birthday, I did that. It's your present for you. For your plug. Hashtag GTBA. But anyhow.
GDTBA,
but. That's what I said, GDTBA. Well, maybe I didn't. Whatever. I digress. Anyhow, but, Mark, I think that there's a lot of ideas that they can use for dirt track and racing and flip-flop it back and forth for the benefit of everybody. Kind of like this weekend's format for the USA 100. That's a really prestigious marquee event. Super late models, they qualify, they run 2 25-lap preliminary heat races that sets the features, and then you run a 50-lap race for $20,000 to win. That is one of the single-day biggest paying races in dirt racing. And then, of course, you got fast track racing for $3,000 to win. That is just a paid scoring session to prepare for the $50,000 to win World Championship that will be on Speed 51 live in September, but also on MAV TV. I just think that, I think they could take both the good and the bad for asphalt and dirt and try to find a way to work it together. But I will probably say
Wesley, we need a hook for you, dude.
I would say my funnest race so far today would be the street stock race. I still think the street stock race at Dillon was really cool.
That was actually a really cool event to see. I mean, as grassroots gets there at Dillon to start out the year. Definitely a cool event. And you've got another, you talked about how much they're paying there at Virginia this weekend, and of course today at the Money in the Bank. And they tried to do something a little bit different 3 years ago with this event, make it a single day event. No, practice the day before and all the tires and the fuel and the expenses and the hotels. So they tried to condense it into a 1 day show, and I think they really accomplished that. So knowing that there's limited practice compared to a lot of asphalt races, what are you really looking forward to going into today?
Mark, in the dirt racing world, they get 3 laps. 3 laps, hot laps, sometimes hot lap qualifying together. You shake your car down, you work out the gremlins, you do whatever you need to do, wrong or right, and you get out there and you race for the big money. That's the only thing that I find wrong with the world of asphalt racing. Like, I know we had to do what we had to do. I know cars need practice, like what happened at Bristol and for other events. But you look at what Berlin Raceway's doing. They don't start racing until probably 2 o'clock this afternoon. with practice, and then they go into the European style qualifying, and they'll be ready to run feature races. I think that's one of the things that people find as a monopoly and not a fan of for asphalt racing is why does it take so long? You know, like last weekend, we got to the racetrack at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're there until 2, 3 a.m. People don't realize that because they only see what we do when we're live on the air. But you're just so exhausted. I mean, there was one time where I was like, thank goodness my friend Mamba told me about body armor, you know, because like if I didn't have a couple of those body armors in me about midpoint through the race at Bristol last weekend, I was drained because you've done so much work during practice. You're on the air during practice. You're on the air during qualifying. And people don't see that unless you're there at the racetrack. So I think the sanctioning bodies, I think racetracks in general need to try to find a way of condensing practice. I know practice makes perfect. I know we need practice, especially in the asphalt world. But does it really need to be a whole day long or 2 days long or whatever? Or is it really just the tracks or series just trying to bank some extra money for tires and fuel?
Well, thankfully, you don't have to worry about that today. You got some big guns coming up there.
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, I've seen the entry list. It looks really, really impressive. And I'm going to tell you, the names that are coming, I really don't know who to pick. I really don't know who to pick. Like, you know, I never would have thought that Stephen Massey, he had a strong car at Bristol. I never would have thought he would have come back to the field with the problem that he had and won at Bristol the way he did, got his sword. Of course, Mike Skinner doing what he did. You know, and that's the thing, you know, that I felt so disappointed for the people at Bristol because I was thinking to myself, man, I know it looks like there's a decent crowd there because Bristol's grandstands can be deceiving, a couple of thousand in the stands, but man, I wish that would have been half full. I wish that fans would have been able to see it. And fans that are watching or going to be watching the replay of the morning Bullring, go out and support your local short track. Hashtag more short tracks. You know, Mark, a place that we were both at a couple of weeks ago, Friendship Motor Speedway. I can tell you this by talking with somebody about 1 o'clock this morning. There's big news coming out of that track at 7:30 tonight. So go to their social media page and be watching that. But I can also tell you that there's also another big track that's in the works of reopening. I can't give you all the details on it right now because I'm going to be kind of a liaison helping out with some of the work that's going on behind it. But, with the resurgence of these tracks shutting down, 4 or 5 tracks that have shut down in the last couple of weeks, I think we're going to see also a couple of new tracks come upon the horizon or reopen again. And I think it's going to be great. But the fans need to do their part. Go out and support the tracks, dirt, asphalt, drag, karting, demolition derbies. It doesn't matter. And then, of course, also asphalt racing as well. Yes.
Well, before we let you go, we're gonna make you pick a driver anyway. I mean, Zat's made his pick. All of us here made our picks. Who's your pick to win tonight?
Tonight, not Bristol, not nothing else, just tonight.
Bubba Pollard. Hands down, Bubba Pollard.
I already picked him. You got to pick someone else.
Well,
That's not fair. I didn't know I was asleep.
We should have been up.
We've already had 2 people pick Brian Campbell.
Yeah, but this is Wesley. He can't do that. It's my birthday. I can do that. So who you got, Wesley?
Tell him that I can pick. Tell him I picked Bubba Pollard. That's not fair.
Fine. You got Bubba Pollard. That's not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick at all.
Not a bad pick.
Hey, Wesley.
Okay, so Bubba Pollard would be my number 1 pick.
Well, you only get one.
Yeah.
My dark horse. I got a dark horse. Darn it! Come on now.
He didn't get one.
That's just to make Mark happy. Anthony Sergi, Mark.
That's a local boy. I watched him from
Yes.
quarter midgets through trucks, through late models, limited late models, super late models. He's actually done really good this year. Very excited to see. Yep, Jack Dawsey's done good. He's already got I think he's got a win this year too, doesn't he?
JD3 Anderson won, yeah, Anderson.
Yep.
JD3.
Andy's his own crew chief this year, so he's doing some good things.
I tried to convince him to go to Jacassa so I could drive his car.
Jack Dawsey was doing really, really good until he got caught up into the calamity in the pro late model race. He was on the pole, and then of course also the other super race. So
are you still talking about Bristol?
No, I'm just kind of rambling about on and on who you want to pick. I mean, I think JD3 is going to be somebody to watch.
Wesley,
I had to give you a hard time.
Wesley, do you want to end your own interview with the tag of the event, or do you want me to?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Give us your best.
Hey, by the way, Sergi and Dawsey, neither one are entered tonight, just so you know. So
Really?
Yeah, he might need a different dark horse. They may show up, especially Jack Dossie. That's not too far from him, but
Hey,
yeah.
look, I'm telling you, you can tell me that I've ran out of picks. There's too many people that have picked. The reason why they're picking is because they know the man's doing good. My buddy out of Sonoma, Georgia, Bubba Pollard, who even Kyle Busch said is the greatest local short track racer in the country right now. I believe he's going to come to Berlin and he's going to kick tail. He's going to win the Money in the Bank. He's going to pocket $20,000 back to the Peach State.
All right, there you go.
Hey, Wesley, you guys have a great time. Take care of my buddy Zach for me. Tell all those guys that we say hello, and we'll see them soon.
I didn't get to give my exiting plug.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Exiting plug. Go ahead.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland of Speed 51. Join us tonight, not this weekend. I got to start over again. Hi, it's Wesley Outland, Speed 51. Join us tonight, Monday Night Racing, for the third annual running of the Money in the Bank, presented by Primera Plastics, only on speed51.com. Order the pay-per-view. See it live.
Beautiful.
Bye, guys. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Bye, buddy.
Bye, guys. Happy birthday, Mamba. Cody! Good to see you, buddy.
I'm just turning him down.
I was like, why is he still there? I thought he was going to be gone after he did the plug.
What did he say? Have breakfast?
Well, we're in
Holy
overtime.
crap.
We've been over for a while, but
Oh, yeah.
Cody, it was a pleasure, man.
It was a pleasure being here with you day after your birthday on the Black Mamba Takeover.
The Black Mamba Takeover. Uncle Mark, appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Tom.
Love the yellow headphones.
Tom Ryan, thank you. Oh, thanks, buddy.
See you guys.
All right, well,
Off to work.
this is the Morning Bullring. We're done. Presented to you by Hyperco. And for me, Dylan Smith, the Black Mamba, Cody Geyer, Mark Keeler, Tom Ryan, and the rest of Speed 51. It's a great day to be alive. Take care, guys.